Chapter 281. Mu Xingqiu closed his eyes. He recalled how he had ridiculed Yin Luo in the past, and found it laughable. That's right. The Mu clan had indeed produced two outstanding women who could be sent to the royal family. Especially Mu Wuxuan. She was the future mother of the nation, mother of the world. The Yin clan had nothing. Even Yin Luofeng, who was previously engaged to the crown prince, had been annulled. However, so what if the Mu clan's women were outstanding? Didn't they still need to cling onto the royal family to survive? The Yin clan, on the other hand, had unknowingly trampled on the royal family. Yin Luofeng, do you really not care about old ties? Mu Xingqiu opened his eyes and spoke in an overbearing manner. Your grandfather and I are both officials of the imperial court. Why must you be so excessive? Old ties? Yin Luofeng smiled. Her smile was filled with mockery as she said, What old ties do I have with the Mu clan? You leaked military intelligence and caused the deaths of my parents. You should have known that today's retribution would come. The heavens watch over the actions of a man. The Mu clan's current outcome was the retribution they deserved. He. Mu Xingqiu laughed coldly. He looked at Mu Wuxuan and sighed. Wuxuan, I've been too lenient with you all these years. That's why you've done so many wrong things and even betrayed the clan. However, no matter what you've done, you're still part of the Mu clan's bloodline. I originally want to let you die painlessly, but it seems that's no longer possible. After saying this, Mu Xingqiu turned to Mu Wuqian and said, If you don't want to suffer too much pain, then kill yourself like I did. Mu Xingqiu no longer hesitated. He pulled out his sword and plunged it into his heart without hesitation. Puffed. Fresh blood spurted out and dyed the entire ground red. Mu Xingqiu's body trembled slightly before he slowly fell to the ground. Grandfather! Mu Wuqian's eyes instantly turned red. He glared fiercely at Yin Luofeng and said, Yin Luofeng, you're no better off than the Mu clan. You've killed so many people. You'll get your retribution. Once you die, you'll definitely enter the 18 levels of hell. Retribution? Yin Luofeng raised her eyebrows. Her words were arrogant and unruly, and her eyes were filled with insolence that did not place the world in her eyes. If I don't go to hell, who will? Wait till I go to hell. I will kill all of you again. Humph! Mu Wuqian coldly snorted. At that time, let's see who kills who. Yin Luofeng, I'll wait for you in hell. Bang! Mu Wuqian raised his palm and slammed it against the top of his head. In an instant, the top of his head was smashed into pieces. His brain and blood mixed together and gradually flowed down from the top of his head. It stood to reason that Mu Wuqian was just arrogant and vicious in his words. He did not participate in anything that Mu Wuxuan and Mu Xingqiu had planned. At most, he helped Mu Wuxuan deal with some women who pestered the crown prince. But Yin Luofeng still did not plan on letting him off. Weeds must be cut by the roots. If Mu Wuqian was allowed to live with his hatred towards her, he would definitely do something to harm the general's residence in the future. It was impossible for her to stay in the general's mansion forever. For the sake of her loved ones, she would not regret it even if she was reviled by thousands of people. Yin Luofeng glanced at the two bodies on the ground and then turned her eyes to Mu Wuxuan. I'll give you a chance. You can choose to commit suicide like them, or let me finish you. Of course, if you choose the latter, even if you can't bear it and want to commit suicide in the future, you won't be able to. Chapter 282. Mu Wuxuan's body trembled. She looked at Mu Xingqiu and Mu Wuqian who were lying on the ground, her eyes revealing a trace of horror. No, I don't want to die. I want to live. Even ants know how to live, let alone the greedy and cowardly Mu Wuxuan. Therefore, it was impossible for someone like her to commit suicide. I've already given you a choice. Yin Luofeng paused, then continued. So, in the future, even if you want to commit suicide, you won't be able to. Mu Shun, I'll leave her in your care. I believe you won't let me down. Mu Shun? Hearing this, Mu Wuxuan's eyes showed a touch of surprise. She looked up at the young man who was walking towards her. The young man's face was very calm, no longer showing his usual playboy character. His eyes were filled with deep hatred. He sneered at the stunned Mu Wuxuan. Mu Wuxuan, You probably didn't think that there would be a day like this, ha ha ha. In the beginning, Mu Wushuang, who was aloof and did not put anyone in her heart, now could only put down all her attitude and humbly beg for mercy. Speaking of which, it was really ridiculous. Mu Wushuang was stunned, staring at the young man who appeared in front of her. How could it be you? Did you bring in Luo Feng and the others here? Mu Shun's lips curled up. He smiled mockingly. That's right. These two words completely made Mu Wushuang fall into madness. Her face twisted. She shouted angrily, Mu Shun, you traitor of the Mu clan, you will die a horrible death. If it wasn't for Yin Luofeng suddenly appearing here, maybe she would have already left with the two people from the Tian clan. Even if she entered the Tian clan and became a medicine person, it would be better than falling into the hands of Yin Luofeng. After all, as a medicine person, as long as she was given a chance, she could trample Tianku under her feet. She could even replace her. But now, all her great dreams have been shattered, all because of this traitor Mu Shun. Traitor? Mu Shun sneered. I'm indeed a traitor of the Mu clan, but you're not any better. Grandfather loves you so much. He gave you all the good things since you were young, but you don't care about his life. Are you not a traitor? The young man's words pierced the heart, making Mu Wushuang's heart violently tremble. Suddenly, she knelt down in front of Mu Shun, her hands tightly clasped around his thighs, and pleaded, Mu Shun, please let me go. For the sake of our family, please let me go this time. I will repay you in the future. Mu Shun closed his eyes. When he opened them again, the hatred in his eyes turned into mockery. Mu Wushuang, you killed my biological sister. Just this alone is enough for me to take revenge on you. Mu Wushuang's hand gradually loosened, and her eye Shun. Mu of Shun's Mu. She knew that this time she was definitely finished. Chen Shun you of you chun to I of I mu to you mu to of it to only you can take my life. He no longer addressed Yun Luofeng as a genius doctor, nor as Miss Yun, but directly addressed her as master. The meaning behind his words is very clear. Chapter 283. Facing Mu Shun, who had expressed his loyalty, Yin Luofeng nodded his head lightly. Mu Shun, I will not care about Mu Wushuang's matters in the future. How you deal with her is your problem. With your hatred towards her, it will definitely be better than me dealing with her personally. Yin Luofeng was right. Mu Wushuang had fallen into Mu Shun's hands and could only be tortured to death. Even committing suicide was a luxury for her, and the days of her life would become an eternal nightmare for Mu Wushuang. The matter with the Mu family has been dealt with. Now we're going to the palace. Yin Luofeng slightly lowered his eyes, the corners of his mouth raised in an evil smile. That dog emperor, it's time to step down. Palace courtyard. In the strict imperial study, Gao Tu was discussing matters with Gao Ling, concubine. Mu looked at Gao Tu gently from the side and took over the palace maid's work, pouring a cup of tea for Gao Tu from time to time. Your Majesty, something bad has happened. Suddenly, a hurried voice sounded from outside the imperial study. The eunuch did not wait for anyone to report and stumbled into the room. Gao Tu's face darkened. Eunuch Lu, how can you be so reckless? Your Majesty, something bad has happened. Eunuch Lu wiped the sweat from his forehead and said anxiously, Yin Luofeng of the Yun family has captured someone and is here to force the emperor to abdicate. What? Bang! Gao Tu slammed his palm on the table and stood up from the dragon throne, his face ashen. Yin Luofeng? How dare she? How dare she come to force the emperor to abdicate? Does she want me to abdicate so that she can become the emperor? What a joke. It's not her turn to make decisions in Long Yuan country. Your Majesty. Concubine Mu hurriedly stood up and gently stroked Gao Tu's chest, her face full of tenderness. Please calm your anger. Even though I know that the Yun family doesn't know what's good for them, I didn't expect Yin Luofeng to be so ambitious. Don't worry, since ancient times, evil has never prevailed over good. With Yin Luofeng's strength, he doesn't have the ability to go against the millions of soldiers of the imperial family. Hearing imperial concubine Mu's words, Gao Tu's expression improved slightly. He fiercely flung his sleeves and walked out of the imperial study with an ashen face. Gao Ling furrowed his brows. He felt that something was amiss, but he couldn't pinpoint what it was. He stopped thinking about it and followed behind Gao Tuesday, swish, swish, swish. Just as they stepped out of the imperial study, a group of people came from the front and surrounded the entire imperial study. As for the guards in the palace, all of them collapsed to the ground, clutching their stomachs as they wailed in pain. Yin Luofeng, how dare you? Gao Ling's face was ashen, and he glared at the young girl who was lying lazily in the sedan. He scolded her sternly. Who gave you the guts to force me to abdicate? Inside the sedan, Yin Zhao's grim eyes swept across Gao Tuesday. She then picked up a grape from the fruit platter and brought it to Yin Luofeng's mouth. Yin Luofeng gently sucked on Yin Zhao's finger and licked the tip of her finger. His eyes were filled with mirth as he stared devilishly at Gao Tu. I was born with great guts, so I don't need anyone to give me that. You, Gao Tu pointed angrily at Yin Luofeng. We never thought that the Yin family would be so ambitious. Tell us, does Yin Luo want to be the emperor, or do you want to be the emperor? Yin Luofeng laughed. My apologies, I'm not interested in your throne. Chapter 284. Gao Tu's eyes darkened. Since you have no interest in my throne, what are you doing here? Hearing this, Yin Luofeng's arms rested lazily on the palanquin's handle. He raised his lips and said, It's just that. I don't like you. That's all. I don't like you, so I want you to step down as the emperor. What do you do to me? Gao Tu nearly went mad with anger. He had always thought that he was arrogant enough, but compared to this young girl, he finally understood what it meant to be arrogant and unruly. Apart from this young girl, who else could be so insolent that she did not put the world in her eyes? Yin Luofeng, you're simply too impudent. Guards, take her down. Gao Tu roared and ordered in a cold voice. However, after he spoke, no one came. In the entire palace, only the cries of the guards could be heard. Guards! Gao Tu's expression changed again, and he continued to shout. Where the hell are all of you? Hurry up and take her down. The autumn wind rustled, and leaves fluttered in the air. A maple leaf floated down in front of Gao Tu, making him look so lonely and sorrowful. No one will come to save you even if you scream until your throat is hoarse. The young girl's voice was filled with evil. Anyone who did not know better would have thought that she was going to do something worse than an animal to Gao Tuesday. Yin Luofeng. Gao Tu gritted his teeth hatefully. His heart wrenched fiercely. What on earth have you done? He did not know what had happened. Even though many guards had fallen to the ground, there were more than a handful of guards in the imperial palace. Why were the others nowhere to be seen? All the guards in the imperial palace have been taken down by my men. Yin Luofeng's lips curved in a demonic manner. No one will come to save you. At this moment, Gao Tu's face turned completely pale, and he staggered. Fortunately, imperial concubine Mu supported him from behind so that he did not fall. Gao Ling. Yin Luofeng turned to look at Gao Ling. I wonder if you recognize the people around me. Gao Ling, who hadn't paid much attention to Yin Luofeng's words, turned to look at her subordinates. If these people had appeared in front of him on their own, Gao Ling might not have thought of them. However, now that these people were connected to Yin Luofeng, Gao Ling could not help but fall into deep thought. Are these the guards and servant girls that I helped Yin Luo recruit? Gao Ling hesitated for a moment before asking. After all, no one knew the talents of those people better than him. How could they be the well-trained soldiers in front of him? He would never believe it. However, Yin Luofeng's following reply caused his heart to instantly fall into a freezer. That's right. I should be thanking you. If it weren't for you, my Yin family wouldn't have been able to recruit so many people so quickly. Gao Ling's face turned from pale to deathly pale. He clenched his trembling hands tightly as his entire body trembled in the wind. Impossible. The people I found for you were all trash. They wouldn't be able to make much progress, even if they worked their entire lives. How could it be these people? Gao Ling's voice was filled with madness, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. No one knew these people's abilities better than he did. That was why he refused to believe it no matter what. Chapter 285. Trash. Yun Luofeng's lips curled into a smile, his arrogant and domineering eyes filled with confidence. In my eyes, no one is a piece of trash. Everyone is divided into those who are willing to work hard and those who are unwilling to work hard. As long as one is willing to work hard, even if his talent is inferior to ordinary people, he can still break through extremely quickly. No one was truly useless. His words stirred the hearts of everyone in the Iron Flame Legion. That's right, no one was useless. As long as they put in the effort and hardships, even if their talent was low, they could still stand at the peak of the continent. Master is right. Zhonglinger stood up, her adorable doll face filled with determination. We are not worse than those so-called geniuses. At least we are willing to put in more hardships and efforts than ordinary people. In the past half a year, the members of the army had made rapid breakthroughs. This was not only due to the medicinal liquid. After all, the medicinal liquid was only an auxiliary function. What had truly caused their growth was the sweat that they had put in. For the past half a year, countless days and nights had passed. They had been cultivating tirelessly, forgetting to eat and sleep. No one was willing to fall behind. It was because of their hard work that they had come this far. After saying that, Zhonglinger's aura burst out. At the same time, the others also released their power, covering the sky above the Imperial Palace. High Spiritualist? 10 High Spiritualists? Gao Ling stumbled a few steps back. His entire body slammed heavily into the wall with a loud thud. His pale face was filled with shock and astonishment. How did this happen? Even if you have the ability to turn them from good-for-nothings into geniuses, breaking through to high spiritualists in just half a year isn't something that humans can do. God? Suddenly, this word appeared in Gao Ling's mind. He looked at Yin Luofeng with fear in his eyes. This woman was God. Otherwise, how could that bunch of trash break through so quickly? It was a good thing that Yin Luofeng himself was still trash. Otherwise, this Yin family would really be heaven-defying. Gao Ling, you idiot! Gao Tu finally regained his senses and slapped Gao Ling across the face. Even when Gao Ling's reputation was in shambles, he did not teach him a lesson. But now, because of the Yin family's misfortune, he could not help but strike. His handsome face was ashen. These are the trash you recruited for the Yin family? Gao Ling's body trembled as he smiled bitterly. He knew that no matter what explanation he gave, it would be useless. His imperial father would not believe him. Honestly, the strength of this group of people was too shocking. How could they believe that they were still trash half a year ago? Idiot! Fool! Gao Tu kicked Gao Ling in the chest and shouted, I knew you were stupid, but I didn't expect you to be this stupid. You actually sent these people to the Yun family. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have let you take over that position. After teaching Gao Ling a lesson, Gao Tu turned to look at Yin Luofeng and scoffed. Yin Luofeng, so what if you have so many high spiritualists? Our imperial family's greatest powerhouse is an advanced spiritualist. He must have found out that you're attacking the imperial palace, so he'll come to deal with you later. Ha ha ha. Gao Tu laughed maniacally, his eyes filled with malevolence. The reason why he was so fearless was because of the #1 expert of the imperial family. As long as he was around, anyone who killed anyone from the imperial palace would not be able to leave this place unscathed. Chapter 286. Furthermore, the royal family had the existence of the spiritual sect. No matter how strong you, Yin Luofeng, are, you can't compare to a colossus like the spiritual sect. Yin Luofeng's hand gently caressed the gold-seeking mouse milk tea that had come out of his sleeve. His slightly raised eyebrows showed a hint of coldness. All these years, my grandfather, as a general of Long Yuan country, has guarded the borders for many years. My parents have even sacrificed their lives for the country. However, as the emperor of a country, you are greedy for beauty, muddle-headed and tyrannical, valuing a lowly person and despising a gentleman. How can you not hurt the feelings of your subjects? So, today, I am here on behalf of my grandfather to teach you a lesson. Hee. Just as the young girl finished speaking, an old and hollow laughter suddenly came from the direction of the rear courtyard. Immediately after, an old man with a white beard walked in front of Yin Luofeng with his hands behind his back. His steps were full of vigor, as if he was stepping on clouds. His voice was even faintly discernible as he said indifferently, "Yin family's Luofeng, did that kid Yin Luo allow you to come to the palace to cause trouble, or was it your own idea?" Even though his tone was very indifferent, his pair of old eyes were filled with arrogance. It was as if he did not place Yin Luofeng in his eyes at all. The young girl's entire body was leaning against Yun Zhao's chest. Her evil eyes contained a hint of a smile. "Whether it was my old man who asked me to come or my own idea, it has nothing to do with you. I am here to make this dog emperor step down. Whoever dares to stop me, I will kill them. Arrogant, arrogant. Whoever dares to stop me, I will kill them. In the entire Long Yuan country, who would dare to say such domineering words in front of the strongest person in the royal family? Only Yun Luofeng. He really did not know if this woman was really arrogant and confident, or was she extremely stupid. Yin family's Luofeng, I don't care what the royal family has done to your Yun family, but you must know one thing. If the emperor wants the subject to die, the subject has no choice but to die. If you disobey the emperor's order, you will be committing the crime of rebellion." The old man's indifferent eyes looked down at Yin Luofeng. His hands were behind his back, his white robes fluttered in the wind. He had the demeanor of an immortal and was full of vigor. Yun Luofeng crossed his legs, slightly raised his arrogant eyes, and looked down at the old man. "I only know one sentence. The winner is king, and the loser is a bandit. If Gao Tu fails, he can only be a bandit. I never knew that a king had to lower his head to a bandit." The old man narrowed his eyes and stared coldly at the young girl lying on the sedan. At this moment, the girl's attitude was arrogant and domineering. Her eyes were like a victorious queen, arrogant and unruly, looking down on the world. Looking at such a domineering girl, the old man suddenly felt a little uncertain. After all, Yin Luofeng's gaze was like that of a monarch. Let alone that idiot Gao Tu, even the sect master of the Spirit Gate didn't have such a gaze. However, as the guardian of the royal family, he could not back down no matter what. Yin clan's Luofeng, with me here today, don't even think of harming a single hair on Gao Tu's head. Moreover, if I were to fight with your Yin clan, there won't be any benefits for your Yin clan. Why don't you give me some face and leave now?" Hearing the old man's words, Yin Luofeng could not help but curl his lips once again. His slightly raised brows revealed a mocking expression. "I wonder how much your face is worth. Are you really worthy of me giving you face?" Her words were filled with provocation and arrogance, causing the old man's expression to instantly change. Chapter 287. It's not a good thing to be too arrogant. If you insist on acting rashly, I will have no choice but to teach you a lesson, you silly little girl. Whoosh! The old man's body suddenly turned into a gust of wind and appeared in front of Yin Luofeng in an instant. He hooked his hand like an eagle's claw, fierce and sharp. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness. Yin Luofeng smiled faintly at the old man's rapidly approaching figure. She did not even try to dodge, and her eyes were filled with smiles. Seeing the young girl's confident attitude, the old man became even more furious, and his attacks became even more ferocious. It was as if he wanted to take Yin Luofeng's life in one move. However, just as the old man's hand was a millimeter away from Yin Luofeng's face, a wave of anger suddenly came from above, carrying with it an irresistible force. "Who dares to hurt my granddaughter?" Bang! A powerful force came from behind, ferocious and fierce. The old man could no longer care about Yin Luofeng in front of him. He hurriedly turned around to face the sudden aura behind him. With a bang, an explosive force spread out from his body. Dust rose up, covering the sky and covering the earth. At the same time, the grim-faced man on the palanquin slowly retracted his hand and continued to feed the fruit to Yin Luofeng as if nothing had happened. This #1 cultivator of the royal family probably did not expect that he would be so close to death. If he had not reacted quickly enough to deal with Yin Luofeng, he might have already lost his life on the spot. Since Yin Luofeng had arrived, Xianxia did not plan on taking action. After all, this was a grudge between the Yun family. When the Yun family had the ability to solve the problem, he only needed to watch from the side. If the Yun family could not solve the problem, then he would step in to help. Yin Luo. The old man's face sank when he saw the old man walking towards him. He said coldly, "Looks like you've come just in time. If it weren't for your timely arrival, your granddaughter would have been buried here." Yin Luo chuckled. "Lin Tian, you should be grateful that I've arrived just in time. Otherwise, you would have been the one buried here." His granddaughter had Yin Xiao by her side. What was this old thing, Lin Tian? He could guarantee that this old thing would not even be able to lay a finger on his precious granddaughter. Honestly, this kid Yin Xiao was really reassuring. However, he had wanted to compete with the most powerful cultivator in the imperial family for a long time. Therefore, he couldn't help but come to the imperial palace. Elder Lin. Gao Tu quickly walked to Lin Tian's side and glared hatefully at the mischievous Yin Luo. "This old thing wants to rebel. Please execute him immediately, Elder Lin, as a warning to others." Elder Lin frowned slightly. This Gao Tu was really an idiot. It was obvious that Yin Luo had come prepared. It would not be easy for him to kill him today. Elder Lin pondered for some time and asked, "Yin Luo, have you become an intermediate high spiritualist?" "Not bad." Yin Luo raised his eyebrows and said proudly, "My luck is pretty good. I just broke through to the intermediate high spiritualist not long ago. Therefore, I couldn't help but want to spar with you." Actually, the reason why Yin Luo was able to break through was because of the spirit fruit that Yin Luo Feng had given him. Although the old man loved to show off, he still knew his limits. He knew what he could say and what he couldn't. If the existence of the spirit fruit in his granddaughter's hands were to be made public, what awaited the Yun family would be a nightmare. Chapter 288. Sure enough, Lin Tian's face darkened when he heard Yin Luo's words, and his eyes flickered with an obscure light. "Elder Lin, what are you waiting for? Even if Yin Luo breaks through, he's only an intermediate high spiritualist. As an advanced high spiritualist, he's definitely not your opponent." Gao Tu became anxious when he saw Elder Lin's hesitation. He could not understand why Elder Lin was so hesitant when facing an intermediate high spiritualist. Elder Lin did not answer Gao Tu's question, but his expression did not look too good. Of course, he was not afraid of Yin Luo, but the 100-man army beside Yin Luo Feng. Even though Yin Luo was not his opponent, it would not be a problem for him to hold him back for a while. During this time, the 100-man army could destroy the palace in an instant. When the spiritual gate finds out about this, they would definitely be furious, and Elder Lin would be charged with the crime of failing to protect the palace. "Yin Luo, the force behind me is the spiritual gate." Lin Tian took a deep breath and decided to tell the truth. Only a few people in the imperial family knew about the existence of the spiritual gate. Even the imperial concubine Mu did not know anything about the spiritual gate. Thus, he was sure that Yin Luo did not know about it. "So what?" Yin Luo sneered. "I've known about this for a long time." Lin Tian's expression became colder. "Since you know about it, why are you still plotting a rebellion?" He. Yin Luo curled his lips and laughed mockingly. "That dog of an emperor, Gao Tu, is biased towards the Mu family. I would never forget that in order to save my Xianxia, I had knelt in front of Jinglin. Even then, he didn't order Jinglin to save her. It was ridiculous that I had gone to guard the border for 10 years for such a person. Now, I've finally thought it through. Apart from destroying this incapable emperor, I'm also here to make Jinglin repent for what he did that day." Boom! Suddenly, Yin Luo's pupils shrank, and a domineering aura was released from his body. At this moment, he seemed to have become the famous general who guarded the borders a few months ago. Those who offend the Yun family, no matter who they are, must die. After saying this, Yin Luo clenched his fists and charged towards Lin Tian. His aura was monstrous, and he was as sharp as an unsheathed sword. Lin Tian's expression darkened, and he bent his hand into an eagle's claw to meet Yin Luo's attack. But a little hamster came out of nowhere and crawled into his pants. With a howl, It bit on the tool he used to carry on his family line. Ah! Lin Tian let out a shrill shriek. He couldn't care less about Yin Luo, who was coming towards him. He grabbed his crotch with his eagle claw, wanting to squash the damned hamster into a meat patty. However, after it was done, the little hamster changed its target. It climbed up from Lin Tian's chest and used its sharp teeth to bite Lin Tian's chest again. Humph! This old bastard dared to bully this rat's master just now. Now, he even wanted to fight with master's grandfather. Dream on. In order to be able to eat more elixirs, I can't let you indulge. I must let Grandpa vent his anger. Bang! Just as Lin Tian was about to grab the little hamster, Yin Luo's fist landed on Lin Tian's stomach, causing him to take a few steps back. Yin Luo laughed heartily. Lin Tian, aren't you very awesome? Fight me if you can. Ha ha ha. Chapter 289. Lin Tian was in agony from a bite and roared angrily. If you're so capable, wait until I crush this hamster to death before I fight you. Yin Luo rolled his eyes. Even though he had come here to fight Lin Tian, he had only wanted to beat these people up to vent his anger. How could he let go of such a good opportunity? Was he stupid? What hamster? I didn't see it. Yin Luo lied through his teeth. Lin Tian, are you afraid of me? Is that why you're using such a low-level excuse? You. Lin Tian was so angry that his face turned pale. Yin Luo, you shameless villain, who's afraid of you? If this hamster had not burrowed into my clothes, I would have beaten you to the ground in one breath. As he spoke, Lin Tian was bitten again. He could no longer care about Yin Luo and tore his clothes into pieces. Instantly, the little hamster's body was exposed to the sunlight. A hamster dares to attack me? You're looking for death. Lin Tian slammed his palm on his chest. As he had flown into a rage out of humiliation, he had used a lot of strength in his attack. However, the hamster's body was very agile, and before his palm could land, it had jumped onto his shoulder. Hence, not only had he failed to kill the little hamster, his chest had turned purple, and he could not help but stumble a few steps back. TSK, TSK. Yin Luo grinned at the furious Lin Tian. You know that you can't defeat me, so you want to commit suicide? Lin Tian, I didn't think that you'd be such a coward. You don't even have the courage to fight. As compared to the pain in his body, Lin Tian was more furious at Yin Luo's words. He was so angry that he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. His elderly body trembled as he said, Yin Luo, can't you see the hamster on my body? It's biting me. How am I supposed to fight you? Yin Luo replied in all seriousness, Sorry, I'm blind. I can't see it. As his injuries were not light, and coupled with the provocation from Yin Luo's words, Lin Tian spat out a mouthful of black blood. His elderly face was now deathly pale. Yin Luo, you shameless bastard. This fellow must have done it on purpose. He did not believe that he could not see such a huge hamster. Gigi. The hamster squeaked twice and used its two sharp front teeth to bite Lin Tian's shoulder. Its bite was very forceful, and blood could be seen with a single bite. It was no wonder that Lin Tian no longer had the heart to fight with Yin Luo. Unfortunately, Yin Luo absolutely wouldn't let go of this kind of good opportunity to trample on him. Lin Tian, even if you don't have the courage to fight me today, I won't let go of the chance to fight you. So let's have a fair fight. Both of us will be barehanded and will not use any weapons. Fair? You fucking have the nerve to talk about fairness in such a righteous manner? From the beginning to the end, he had never seen such a shameless person. This old fellow didn't even want his face anymore. What else could he say to him? Just as Lin Tian was about to face Yin Luo's attack, the little hamster that was hiding on his body bit him again. Due to the intense pain, Lin Tian's movements paused for a moment. At the same time, Yin Luo's fist landed firmly on his chest. With a loud bang, Lin Tian's body was sent flying, and he spat out 3 liters of blood as he fell to the ground. His eyes were filled with rage as he said, Yin Luo, if you really have the ability, let me crush this hamster to death before I fight you. Just as Lin Tian's voice had fallen, Milk Tea strode towards Lin Tian on his short legs. He raised his little hamster's head and stared down at Lin Tian complacently. Chapter 290. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Milk Tea called out to Lin Tian twice. Her big round eyes were full of provocation. Her expression seemed to be saying, if you have the ability, come and pinch me to death. If you don't have the ability, then what are you doing? Damned hamster, you're the first one I'll kill. Lin Tian understood the emotions in Milk Tea's eyes. He roared and leaped up, his eagle claws reaching for Milk Tea's small body. Bang! Before Lin Tian's attack reached her, Milk Tea dodged it agilely. The eagle claws that were descending went straight into the ground. Then, a wail was suddenly heard. Damned hamster, don't run away if you have the ability. Lin Tian's hand was stuck in the ground. He felt a burning pain in his entire finger, and his face couldn't help but twist. His entire body emitted a monstrous aura, and it was obvious that he was extremely angry. Milk Tea turned around and called out to Lin Tian a few times. She seemed to be saying, don't run away. Am I stupid? In his anger, Lin Tian didn't care about anything else. He bared his fangs and brandished his claws at Milk Tea, who was escaping quickly. Unfortunately, Lin Tian, who was chasing after Milk Tea, didn't feel Yun Luo's aura suddenly appear behind him. Bang! A powerful force assaulted Lin Tian from behind, causing him to stagger and fall flat on his face, sprawling on the ground. Then, he leaped up and turned around to attack Yun Luo. However, just as he gave up chasing after Milk Tea and attacked Yun Luo, Milk Tea, the little hamster, appeared out of nowhere. It slithered onto Lin Tian's back and opened its mouth to bite him. Ah! Lin Tian screamed in pain. He stretched his palm backward and grabbed Milk Tea, who was on his back. His hand was as slippery as if it was smeared with oil. The little hamster slipped through his palm and ran in the direction behind him. Lin Tian wanted to continue chasing after Milk Tea, but he had only taken a few steps when Yun Luo took the opportunity to attack him. When he wanted to find trouble with Yun Luo, Milk Tea ran out and attacked his back again. Facing this shameless human and hamster, Lin Tian went completely crazy. He roared angrily, and his disheveled hair was scattered behind him. He looked like a real lunatic. Ah, Yun Luo, I'm going to tear you and this damned hamster to pieces. Lin Tian's trousers had been shaken off by the berserk energy in his body. He waved his arms furiously as he charged towards Milk Tea. He no longer cared about Yun Luo, who was throwing punches at him from time to time. All he wanted to do was to squash this troublemaking little hamster to death. He knew that as long as the little hamster was alive, he would never have a fair fight with Yun Luo. Lin Tian, why are you running? If you're a man, then stop and fight with me. What's the point of running away? Yun Luo laughed out loud as he chased after Lin Tian. His spiritual energy seemed to be free of charge as it struck Lin Tian's body. Lin Tian staggered and almost fell to the ground. Even though he was enraged, he did not stop chasing after the hamster. Hence, the entire palace could see a hamster running crazily in front and two old men chasing it from behind. Yun Luo Feng leaned lazily on Yun Zhao's body as she watched the chase with interest. She saw that Milk Tea was not in any danger and that the old man was having fun. Hence, she did not step forward to stop this farce. Instead, she turned her gaze towards Gao Tu, who was ready to make a move. Chapter 291. Qing Yin, Zhong Linger, what do you think we should do with these people? She raised the corner of her lips and narrowed her eyes with a dangerous glint. Zhong Linger blinked, her bright and lovely eyes filled with ridicule. Master, although Gao Ling is stupid and the emperor is biased, these people from the royal family don't deserve to die. Yun Luo Feng raised his eyebrows and motioned for Zhong Linger to continue. So, Zhong Linger paused for a moment, then said, this subordinate has an idea. Master can cripple Gao Tu's strength and imprison him. Let him watch how the Yun family, which he once looked down on, grows step by step until they finally stand at the peak of the continent. Weren't you biased towards the Mu family at the time? It was precisely because Mu Wushuang was a member of the royal family that you allowed Gao Ling to bully your master and acquiesced to all of Gao Ling and Mu Wushuang's actions. Therefore, Zhonglinger wanted these people to watch the Yun family grow step by step and let Gao Tu spend the rest of his life in regret. That's a good idea. Yun Luofeng stroked his chin and said, Zhonglinger, do you have anything else to say? Zhonglinger was silent for a moment. This is a punishment for Gao Tu and his son. As for imperial concubine Mu, many things were caused by her, and she is a member of the Mu family. We must cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Before Gao Tu knew Mu Wuxuang's identity, many things had indeed happened because of imperial concubine Mu. It was because of her pillow talk that Gao Tu was biased towards the Mu family. Moreover, it was also because of her that Gao Tu acquiesced to Jing Lin's actions. This was the eternal hatred in Master Yun's heart. If he didn't eradicate the Mu family, he wouldn't be able to erase that painful memory. Qingyan, do you have anything else to add? Yun Luofeng's lips curled into a smile as he turned to look at the little servant girl beside him. Qingyan looked at Yun Luofeng. Miss, I think Zhonglinger's idea is very good, but I would like to add one more condition. That is, let Gao Tu and his son become Milk Tea's playmates. Milk Tea is very lonely without any playmates. Milk Tea? Hearing Qingyan's words, Gao Tu's face turned white. He looked in horror at the little hamster running wildly in front of him, his eyes revealing a deep fear. Become this little thing's playmate? It would be better to just let him die. Of course, this was what Gao Tu thought in his heart, but a person like him who was afraid of death would absolutely not commit suicide. He would rather live in pain than die in despair. Yin Xiao, what do you think? Yun Luofeng turned his gaze towards Yin Xiao and asked. Yin Xiao's voice was as cold and grim as ever. However, her words made one's heart feel extremely warm. As long as you're happy, as long as she felt happy, he would support her no matter what she did. Even if she wanted to slaughter everyone in the world, he would not leave her side. Yin Luofeng, when Gao Tu saw that these people had casually decided on his order, his face darkened and he said, Don't forget, the imperial family is backed by the Spirit Order. Do you think you have the strength to fight against Spirit Gate? I already knew about the existence of the Spirit Gate before I came here. Yin Luofeng raised his eyes towards Gao Ling and spoke in an indifferent tone, since I still dare to cause trouble for the royal family despite knowing about the Spirit Gate. Do you think that I will be scared off by your words? Gao Tu's expression changed once again. The Spirit Gate was his safeguard. If even this safeguard was useless, he would have no way of facing the Yun family's 100-man army. Chapter 292. Just as Gao Tu was thinking of a countermeasure, Lin Tian finally exhausted all of his energy. He could not help but stop at his tracks. He panted as he looked at the little hamster that had been maintaining a distance of about 10 meters from him. His old face was filled with anger. When I catch you, I'll crush you into a meat patty. This damned little thing was just an ordinary gold-seeking rat. A spiritual beast like the gold-seeking rat would only be able to stay at the low spiritualist rank for its entire life. How could it run so fast? Of course, the gold-seeking rat that Lin Tian knew was in the hands of others. Yin Luofeng's gold-seeking rat must be an existence that surpassed everyone's knowledge. So how could he catch up to it? I'm afraid you won't have the chance. Yin Luo looked at Lin Tian with a mocking gaze as he nibbled on a spirit fruit. His expression was very leisurely, and his entire being was very relaxed. It was as if the person who had been chasing after Lin Tian just now wasn't him. Yin Luo. Lin Tian turned around angrily. Why are you fine after running for so long and hitting me so many times? This old fellow was weaker than him, and even he had no energy left, so how could this old thing still be so relaxed? He did not even take a deep breath. In reality, the reason why Yin Luo was so relaxed was related to the spirit fruit in his hand. When a high spiritualist consumed the first spirit fruit, they could instantly break through to the next level, but the second spirit fruit would not have any effect. However, this effect was only for increasing one's strength. For someone like the old man who ate the spirit fruit like a normal fruit, even if he could not use the spirit fruit to continue increasing his strength, he could still use it to recover his spiritual power and increase his physical strength. This was also why the old man did not take a deep breath after running for so long and using so much spiritual power. When the people from a Steel Flame Corps saw the old man nibbling on a spirit fruit while chasing Lin Tian, their hearts could not help but twitch. Such a good thing was wasted by him, just like that. However, the others could not recognize the spirit fruit in Yin Luo's hand and only treated it as a normal fruit. Therefore, they did not pay much attention to it and were only shocked by the old man's strong physical strength. Do you want to know why my physical strength is so strong? Even my spiritual power is inexhaustible. The old man threw away the core of the fruit in his hand and looked at Lin Tian with disdain. Gigi. When the hamster saw this, it stopped in its tracks and ran toward the core that the old man had thrown on the ground. It grabbed the core and ran to the side to gnaw on it. What? Lin Tian ignored the little hamster and asked in a puzzled tone. He still could not understand. Yin Luo's strength was clearly a level lower than his, so why was he not even panting after running for so long? Yin Luo's shameless face disappeared and was replaced by a solemn expression. Facing such a serious Yin Luo, Lin Tian temporarily put away the anger in his heart and waited for his reply. That's because Yin Luo stroked his snow-white beard and replied seriously, "You often visit brothels and your body has been squeezed dry. Of course you're weaker. How can you compare to a proper person like me? Old man, you're already so old. You'd better take good care of your body. Don't always let those women drain you dry." Lin Tian originally thought that Yin Luo would really answer his question, but who knew that this old fellow would actually say something like this? And it angered him to the point he almost spat out another mouthful of blood. Chapter 293. What did he mean by visiting a brothel? What did he mean by his body had been hollowed out by those women? He had been in closed-door cultivation every day, so when had he ever visited a brothel? You should have guessed that this old thing, Yin Luo, would never say anything nice. Waiting for him to answer your question? Dream on. Yin Luo, even if I die today, I will drag you down with me. Lin Tian's eyes were bloodshot as he charged towards Yin Luo, as if he had been possessed. Even if he dies, he would never let this shameless old thing off. On the palanquin, Xianxia stared at Lin Tian, who was charging towards old Master Yin as a cold glint flashed across his deep, black eyes. He slowly raised his hand, and a wave of spiritual energy shot out from his sleeve, hitting Lin Tian's leg with a loud bang. At this moment, Lin Tian had just rushed in front of Master Lord Master when he was caught off guard and was struck by the spiritual energy. His legs couldn't withstand the weight of the spiritual energy, and he knelt down in front of Master Lord Master. That's right. He had indeed knelt down, but his knees were trembling nonstop, and he could not even stand up. Tsk tisk. Master Yin placed his hands on his hips as he smiled at Lin Tian, who was kneeling in front of him. Lin Tian, even if you know that you're in the wrong, there's no need for you to kneel before me. Besides, even if you do, I won't forgive you. You. Lin Tian's face was filled with anger and humiliation as he glanced behind him with a pair of sharp eyes. Who was it? Who was the one who launched a sneak attack on me? Step forward. Bang! Just as Lin Tian was investigating the person who had launched a sneak attack, a hard rock flew towards him and hit his head. Immediately after, Milk Tea walked towards him with her short little legs and squeaked in ridicule. Lin Tian completely broke down. He wanted to crawl up from the ground, but before he could straighten his knees, a powerful pressure pressed towards him from the direction of the sedan and pressed his body fiercely onto the ground. Ha ha ha! Lin Tian, weren't you very capable in the past? To think that there would be a day where you would kneel down like me. Yin Luo roared with laughter as he sent Lin Tian's body flying with a single palm strike. After that, he leapt up and rode on Lin Tian's body as his fists rained down like a torrential storm. The old man fought fiercely, wanting to vent all the grievances he had endured over the years. However, the grim man on the sedan nonchalantly picked up a grape and placed it next to Yin Luofeng's mouth. There was no expression on his handsome face. It was as if the person who had suppressed Lin Tian was not him. Puff! Lin Tian spat out a mouthful of blood after being beaten by Grandpa Lin. There was not a single part of his face that was left intact. He was probably beaten so badly that even his mother would not be able to recognize him. When the old master's last punch landed, Lin Tian couldn't take it anymore and fainted. Seeing this, the old man felt rather bored. He got down from Yangming's body and clicked his tongue. How boring. This old thing's an advanced spiritualist, but he's so weak that he fainted after just a few hits. How many times? Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but twitch the corner of their mouths. Grandpa Lin had hit him a few hundred times, but in the end, he actually said that he had only hit him a few times. Little girl, I'll leave the aftermath to you. Your grandfather, I'm going to find someone to drink tea and chat with. Grandpa Lin placed his hands behind his back and raised his head. His face was filled with complacency. It's really not worth wasting my precious time on these people. Yun Luofeng looked at the radiant Grandpa Lin, and the corners of his lips curled into a smile. Have you vented enough? Chapter 294. Vent? What do you mean vent? Master Dongtian glared at Yun Luofeng. I was just exchanging pointers with him. How is that venting? Do you think that I'm such a shameless villain? Once he had spoken, Master Dongtian stroked his beard and continued in a serious manner. This was a fair competition between us. Do you understand what fairness is? I had defeated him because his skills were not as good as mine. If Lin Tian had heard Master Dongtian's shameless words, he would have been angered to death. It was a good thing that Lin Tian had fainted earlier on, so he had managed to escape this calamity. Yun Luofeng was already aware of this old man's character, so she was not surprised at all. She gently raised her brow and glanced at her with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Then go back and wait for me. I'll go home once I'm done here. Haha, I'll wait for you at home. Yun Luofeng burst into laughter. His face was filled with satisfaction as he puffed out his chest and walked out of the imperial palace. He soon disappeared from Yun Luofeng's sight. Once the old man had left, Yun Luofeng retracted her gaze and glanced at Gao Tu and his son with her pitch-black eyes. Her eyes were filled with an evil smile. It's your turn now. I think that Zhonglinger and Qingyin's suggestion isn't bad. Since you've looked down on the Yun family, I'll show you how the Yun family rises to the pinnacle of the mainland. Gao Tu's expression changed instantly when he heard this. Yun Luofeng, are you really not afraid of the Spirit Order's revenge? His voice trembled, and it was obvious that he no longer had his initial confidence. After all, even if the cultivators from the Spirit Order were to rush over, they would need a few days to do so. In that time, that hateful little hamster would certainly have killed them all. You'll find out soon enough whether we're afraid of the Spirit Order or not. The young girl's peerlessly beautiful face lit up with an evil smile. Everyone from the Steel Flame Regiment, hear my order. As she spoke, her voice became extremely loud and clear. Her voice echoed throughout the imperial palace. Instantly, everyone from the Steel Flame Regiment straightened their backs, as if they were soldiers obeying an order. Take these people back to the general's mansion. If anyone resists, kill without mercy. Gao Tu and the others felt a chill run down their spines when they heard the words kill without mercy. Their entire bodies were surrounded by a sharp aura, causing them to not even dare to breathe loudly. However, when he saw the Steel Flame Legion pressing down on him, Gao Ling struggled and shouted, Yun Luofeng, are you really going to be so heartless? I know that I have eyes but failed to see. I shouldn't have chosen Mu Wushuang instead of you. I also know that you are retaliating against me for my choice. As long as you let me go, I am willing to listen to you. Yun Luofeng sneered in his heart when he saw the fear in Gao Ling's eyes. I wonder what the previous owner of this body saw in Gao Ling that she would even give up her life for such a man. Such a cowardly and useless person who was greedy for life and afraid of death could not be considered a man. Bring him back. The girl's voice was merciless, causing Jailing's heart to sink. His body stiffened as he allowed the Steel Flame Legion to drag him away. Yin Xiao, when we get back, I'll be waiting for an explanation from you. Yun Luofeng curled the corners of his lips and turned his dark eyes towards Yun Xiao with a smile that did not reach his eyes. I want to know what the Ghost Emperor's identity is all about. Chapter 295. It was nighttime, and the moonlight was as clear as water. In the young girl's boudoir, a pleasant fragrance wafted through the air. The snow-white curtains fluttered gently in the wind, as if a gentle hand was gently caressing the young girl's peerlessly beautiful face. The man stood behind her, and his grim black eyes stared straight at the young girl in front of him. I have no ulterior motives for coming to the Yin family home. He had come here only for her sake. As he spoke, the man's face was as expressionless as ever. However, the flash of nervousness in his eyes betrayed his inner feelings. He was afraid. He was afraid that Yin Luofeng would misunderstand him. If she had misunderstood him, he would not know how to win back her trust. And then, the young girl's voice was neither cold nor indifferent. There was no emotion in her voice, and it was impossible to tell what she was thinking. Xianxia stared blankly. Suddenly, he strode in front of the young girl and fiercely pulled her into his arms. He forcefully rubbed her body tightly as he lowered his eyes and quietly stared at the young girl in his arms. The young girl did not move and allowed Xianxia to hold her. Seeing Yin Luofeng like this made him feel even more nervous. Trust me, I would never do anything to hurt you. The Ghost Emperor is just a title that outsiders have given me. In the Yin family, there is no Ghost Emperor, only Xianxia. In the Yin family, there is no Ghost Emperor, only Xianxia. Yin Luofeng felt a wave of warmth flow through her heart. She gently pushed the man who was holding her away and raised her head to stare at the grim and handsome face in front of her. Xianxia, when we first met, you were badly injured and had fallen from the wall. I want to know, someone as powerful as you, how did you end up so badly injured that day? Xianxia thought for a moment before replying, the cultivation method that I practice is a little special. The injury that day was caused by me falling into a frenzied state while I was cultivating and injured myself. By the time I had regained my senses, I was already badly injured. Furthermore, there were many people who wanted to snatch my cultivation method. In order to prevent them from finding out where I was, I would change my location every time I finished cultivating. Who would have thought that I would injure myself so badly that I fainted just as I was about to leave? Cultivation method? Yin Luofeng gently furrowed his brows. What cultivation method do you practice? Xianxia looked at Yin Luofeng and replied honestly, the cultivation method that I practice is called the Heavenly Spirit Technique. Heavenly Spirit Technique? While Yin Luofeng was hesitating, Little Mo's surprised voice came from her soul. Master, I know about this Heavenly Spirit cultivation method. I never thought that Yin Zhao's luck would be so good to actually obtain this Heavenly Spirit cultivation method. Furthermore, this Heavenly Spirit cultivation method is the most suitable cultivation method for a corporeal spiritual body to cultivate. However, every time the Heavenly Spirit cultivation method breaks through a layer, at the same time as his cultivation base rises, he will indeed enter a state of madness. He will completely not recognize his own family and will even hurt himself. Yin Luofeng's heart sank when he heard Little Mo's words. Is there a solution? Yin Luofeng didn't notice in the slightest that the eyes of the little fellow in the divine grimoire space lit up after he asked the question. Yes, of course there is. The next time Xianxia breaks through, Master, you can dual cultivate with him. As long as he dual cultivates with you, his madness will not flare up. Yin Luofeng gently stroked his chin and did not reply to Xiaomo's question. Instead, he turned his gaze towards Yin Xiao once again. Then why have you come to the Yin family? Just because I saved you and saw your face under the mask, you want me to take responsibility? Chapter 296. Yin Zhao's black eyes stared unblinkingly at Yin Luofeng. Back then, when I came to find you, I said something. The feeling of being by your side made me feel very comfortable. I didn't lie to you when I said that. As long as I stand by your side, my entire body feels comfortable. Ever since he started cultivating the Heavenly Spirit skill, his soul would often experience a tearing pain. However, as long as he stood by Yin Luofeng's side, he would feel that his body and soul were surrounded by a warm spiritual energy. It was incomparably comfortable. Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows. I didn't know I had this ability. That day, Yin Xiao had indeed said something like this, but she didn't care. That little fellow Xiao Imo must have understood what he meant, but didn't tell her. Yin Xiao, this is why you came to the Yun family to find me. Yin Xiao nodded honestly. That was indeed the case in the beginning. Then what about now? Now? He paused, then said, I want to be responsible for you. Since you aren't willing to be responsible for me, then I will be responsible for you to the end. In this lifetime, you won't be able to escape my clutches. The man's voice was firm and sincere, causing Yun Luofeng's heart to tremble. His pitch-black eyes stared at the man standing in front of him. Yin Xiao, no matter where you are in the future, when you have a breakthrough in the heavenly spirit skill, come to the Yun family to find me. Yin Xiao didn't understand the meaning of Yun Luofeng's words and frowned slightly. I won't leave this place. Wherever you are, that is my home. Yun Luofeng smiled helplessly. Yin Xiao, it is impossible for you to stay by my side for the rest of your life. You will always temporarily leave my side because of your own matters, but no matter what you leave for, as long as you are about to break through, you must return to my side. I can help you cure your madness. In this lifetime, to have met such a foolish man like Yin Xiao, what reason did she have not to cherish him? If it was to prevent Yin Xiao from hurting herself, she was willing to dual cultivate with him. All right. Yin Xiao's brows furrowed deeply as he looked at Yin Luofeng. I believe you. As long as she said it, he would firmly believe it. Even if she fed him a bowl of poison one day, as long as she said it wasn't poison, he would drink it without hesitation. Yin Xiao, I won't bicker with you over the fact that you've lied to me. Yin Luofeng gently narrowed his eyes. However, if there's anything else you're hiding from me, you can say it now. Upon hearing this, Yin Xiao fell silent. After a long while, he finally spoke. Actually, I'm not an orphan. My parents are still alive, but I left them when I was young. A solemn expression appeared on Yun Luofeng's face. Continue. I was a good-for-nothing since I was young. I couldn't cultivate. Therefore, when I was 7 years old, I was chased out of the clan. I was stripped of my surname and removed from the clan. The surname Xiao was given to me by my mother before she passed away. The man's words caused Yin Luofeng's heart to feel stifled. No wonder when she had first asked Yin Xiao for his surname, he had only said that his first name was Xiao and he didn't have a surname. So, he actually had such a past. Yin Xiao, then why are you trapped in the forest of no return? Who threw you into that kind of place? It's my father's woman. Yin Xiao's gaze became even colder. My mother was born lowly, but her talents were outstanding. Thus, he took a fancy to my mother and thought that with my mother's talents, the next generation would be even more talented. But who would have thought that I was a good-for-nothing? Chapter 297. Since I was a good-for-nothing, my mother was of no use to me. So, he demoted my mother from a wife to a concubine and married someone else. On the day he married someone else, my name was removed from the clan hall and I was chased out of the family. At the same time, his new wife sent someone to throw me into the forest of no return. With each sentence that Yin Xiao said, Yin Luofeng's heart sunk a little. She has never seen a father so cruel that he would chase his own son out of the family and let him perish on his own. Yin Xiao. Yin Luofeng stretched out his arms and gently embraced Yin Xiao's body. He lowered his head and said word by word, Don't worry, I will definitely avenge you. No one can live well after hurting you. No matter how powerful the enemy he faces, she will face them together with him and never abandon him in life or death. Yin Xiao was shocked. He raised his arms and hugged Yin Luofeng's body. His initially cold and grim features curled into a shallow angle. I have you now. That's enough. The torment he had experienced when he was young had shaped his current callousness and sharpened his heart to become incomparably cruel. However, only in front of the young girl in his arms would he lower his guard and willingly become gentle. As if remembering something, Yin Xiao continued, The Xiao family does not seem to know that this woman had once thrown me into the forest of no return. Hence, the Xiao family members seem to be searching for me on this mainland. The forest of no return was a place of no return. If he had been thrown into the forest of no return, the Xiao family would certainly think that he had lost his life. No matter what, they would never send anyone to search for his whereabouts. They're looking for you? Yin Luofeng raised his brows, but a cold smile appeared in his eyes. That day, they were the ones who had chased you out of the family. Why are they looking for you now? Yin Xiao shook his head. I don't know. After saying this, he paused and added, no matter why they're looking for me, I will never return to the Xiao family. This is the only place where I should stay. Yin Luofeng gently stroked his chin. Do those people know of your current level of power? In the outside world, I wear a mask so no one knows that I am the Ghost Emperor. Hearing this, Yin Luofeng fell into deep thought. Those people did not know Yun Zhao's strength, so why were they looking for him? Yin Luofeng would never believe that he didn't have a motive. Yin Xiao, no matter what kind of difficulties you face, I will face them together with you. The young girl's words caused the man's heart to tremble slightly. His black eyes were no longer as cold as before. I don't want to see the Xiao family. It's not that I'm afraid of them. It's just that I don't want those people to taint my eyes and my hands. The man's expression was exceptionally serious as he stared straight at Yin Luofeng. My eyes only need to look at you. My hands are only used to hug you. My strength is also used to protect you. No one else is worth it. Yin Xiao wasn't someone who knew how to say sweet nothings, but every word he said was very sincere, making people involuntarily believe him. The corners of Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a smile. Yin Xiao, you don't want those people to taint your hands, but I can't tolerate anyone who has ever bullied you or hurt you. One day, I will make them live in regret. Chapter 298. She was naturally protective of her own people. Yun Xiao belonged to her. She would not allow anyone who had hurt him to live. The Imperial Palace. The Imperial Palace was in a state of chaos. Gao Tu and Gao Ling had been captured by the Yun family, and all the princes were vying for the throne. Hence, the previously majestic Imperial Palace was now embroiled in a civil war. The fourth prince's mansion. Gao Xiaoqin gently swirled the teacup in his hand as a warm smile appeared on his handsome, jade-like face. His eyes were mixed with a cunning and sinister light, just like a fox, making it impossible for anyone to guess what he was thinking. Your Highness, aren't you going to fight for the throne? Gao Xiaoqin's confidant looked at the handsome man who was leisurely sipping his tea and hesitated for a moment before asking in confusion. Gao Xiaoqin laughed lightly. These people are too stupid. The throne is not something they can fight for. Without the permission of the spiritual gate, the royal family of Long Yuan country will not change hands. This was also the reason why he had bided his time for so many years. Unless he moved the spiritual gate, he would not be able to ascend to the throne. Everyone is drunk. Only I am sober. Is this how people like you are described? Suddenly, a cold laugh rang out, instantly causing Gao Xiaoqin's heart to sink to the bottom of the valley. Since when did someone sneak into the fourth prince's mansion? Why didn't I notice anything? Gao Xiaoqin's eyes narrowed as he looked at the woman sitting on the wooden chair in the study. The woman was dressed in green, with a jade pendant tied around her waist. She had a purple veil draped over her body, and a faint smile hung on her beautiful face. She rested her chin on her hand as she looked at Gao Xiaoqin, who was stunned by her sudden appearance. However, your vigilance is too weak. I've been here for a long time, but you didn't notice me. Gao Xiaoqin's eyes darkened as he asked coldly, Who are you? The woman in green laughed lightly and walked down from the chair. Her footsteps were light and graceful, as if a lotus flower was blooming with each step. I'm here to ask you one thing. Do you want to be the emperor of Long Yuan country? Gao Xiaoqin looked suspiciously at the woman in green. Who are you? Why can you decide who the emperor of Long Yuan country belongs to? Who am I? The green-robed woman raised an eyebrow. Your father and brother should know. Unfortunately, they were captured by the Yun family. Since that's the case, I'll tell you who I am. After speaking, the green-robed woman paused for a moment before continuing. I am Xian, the eldest daughter of the spiritual sect. Do you think I have the right to decide the ownership of your throne? Spirit Gate? Gao Xiaoqin was startled. When he heard the green-robed woman's words, his cunning fox eyes did not show any joy. Instead, they were filled with seriousness. Why are you helping me? Xian swept a glance at Gao Xiaoqin and continued. Our spiritual sect has always had a rule that we would never choose a smart person to ascend the throne from the secular world. Our goal is to prevent those smart people from turning against us. But I don't think so. I'm only interested in someone as smart as you. Gao Tu and Gao Ling are too stupid and boring. If it was someone else, they might have believed Xianxia's words. But what kind of person was Gao Xiaoqian? He had always been the one tricking others. No one had ever tricked him. He would never believe that Xian had no ulterior motives. Miss Xian, after I become the emperor, what do you want me to do for you? Chapter 299. You are indeed not someone who is easily fooled. Xian raised her eyebrows. And because of this, I am even more interested in you. She was confident that even if Gao Xiaoqian were to ascend the throne as the emperor, he would not be able to escape from her grasp. That's right. Facing Gao Xiaoqian's fox-like gaze, Xian went straight to the point and said, I indeed have a motive for making you the emperor of Long Yuan country. Gao Xiaoqian smiled warmly. Then may I know your motive? Hearing this, Xian looked at him once more. Yesterday, when the Mu family was massacred, I was amongst the crowd. Hence, I recognized the cold man beside Yin Luofeng. He is the person I've always been looking for. However, because the man's vigilance was too high, Xian did not dare to look at him more than a few times, afraid that she would attract his attention. Hence, she pretended to be an ordinary bystander to avoid the man's sensitive vigilance. Even so, the man had still noticed her inadvertent glance. If she had not retracted her gaze quickly, he might have noticed it. Are you sure? Gao Xiaoqian's expression froze, and he asked solemnly. Xian nodded. The first time I saw him was in my father's study. He was wearing a mask, and when he walked past me, it was as if he did not sense my presence. He did not even look at me. He was incomparably cold. It was because of his cold and strong aura that I was infatuated with him. Yesterday, even if he did not wear a mask, I could still recognize him from his figure and aura. Thinking of the man's extreme gentleness towards that beautiful girl, there was a kind of burning jealousy in her heart. If not for the fact that her father had warned her that anyone who coveted this man would not have a good ending, perhaps she would have rushed out on the spot and would not have used all her strength to restrain herself. Gao Xiaoqian's eyes flashed a few times. Miss Xian, if that's the case, then why don't you go and snatch him from Yin Luofeng? Xian's face revealed a hint of mockery. I can see that he likes Yin Luofeng, otherwise he would not have stayed by his side without saying a word. If I forcefully rush out and snatch him, I will definitely arouse his disgust. And I want his heart, not his person. In reality, if not for Yun Zhao's overwhelming strength, Xian would definitely have done something like snatching someone else's man. It was precisely because he feared Yun Zhao's strength that he did not dare to do such a thing. Of course, she would never tell Gao Xiaoqian about this. Otherwise, Gao Xiaoqian would not have been so easily. I didn't expect Miss Xian to be so affectionate. A smile appeared on Gao Xiaoqian's gentle, jade-like face as a light flickered in his eyes. However, until now, you still haven't told me what you want me to do. Xian laughed softly. I've already heard that you like Yin Luofeng of the Yun family. Since that's the case, Yin Luofeng belongs to you, and Yun Xiao belongs to me. How about that? As long as you promise me this, I can send someone from the Soul Order to help you. The position of Emperor of Long Yuan country will also belong to you. It goes without saying that Xian's offer was very tempting. If he agreed, not only could he become the Emperor of Long Yuan country, he could also obtain Yin Luofeng. However, Gao Xiaoqian fell silent. Based on his cunning nature, he would not trust someone so easily. After a long while, he seemed to understand something, and his handsome face turned even more serious. Chapter 300. I'll only ask you one thing. If I do this for you, will you hurt Yin Luofeng? A woman who has fallen in love is very deranged and will do extremely cruel things to her love rivals. This was why Gao Xiaoqian had asked this question. That's right. He does want Yin Luofeng, but he does not want her to suffer any harm. Gao Xiaoqian, I never thought that you'd be such an infatuated person. Xian curled the corners of her lips and said with a small smile, Don't worry. As long as I have Yin Xiao, I won't hurt her. However, based on Yun Luofeng's tenacious nature, I'm afraid that she won't submit to you so easily. Hence, you need to wait for Yun Xiao to leave before sending someone to snatch Yun Luofeng into the palace and take her by force. Once you've taken her, I'll find a way to control her and make her obey you for the rest of her life. Why do I have to wait for Yun Xiao to leave? Gao Xiaoqian frowned as a light flickered in his fox eyes. With him around, you won't be able to snatch Yun Luofeng away. Xixian glanced at Gao Xiaoqian. After all, I can't use too much of the Spirit Order's power, and that man is very vigilant. You won't be able to lure him away even if you use any tricks. All you can do is wait. He's a very busy man and can't stay in the Yun family home all the time. What she did not tell Gao Xiaoqian was that even if all the cultivators of the Spirit Order were to come, they would not be able to do anything to Yun Xiao. Of course, if she had told him the truth, Gao Xiaoqian would certainly be so frightened that he would not dare to make a move. As for controlling Yun Luofeng, she really did not have one. She was only trying to trick Gao Xiaoqian. As long as Yun Luofeng loses Gao Xiaoqian, Yun Xiao will never be able to continue to love him. By then, she only needs to find the right time to appear in front of Yun Xiao and comfort his heartbroken self. It would not be difficult for him to accept her. Gao Xiaoqian thought for a moment before he nodded. All right, I promise you. Once Yun Xiao has left the Yun family home, I'll inform you. Then I'll wait for your good news. Xixian gently narrowed her beautiful eyes, and the smile on her pretty face deepened. I hope that you don't disappoint me. Then, her figure turned into a wisp of green smoke and quickly rushed out the door. She quickly disappeared from Gao Xiaoqian's line of sight. Your Highness, the confidant looked in the direction Xixian had left and asked, Can this person be trusted? Gao Xiaoqian's face darkened. We can't believe it. He knew that Xixian could not be trusted, but there was nothing he could do. After all, Ling Min was the master behind a royal family. If he wanted to ascend to the throne, he could only listen to her orders. She could only hope that Xixian would really keep her promise and not harm Yun Luofeng after she had obtained Yun Xiao. Due to the appearance of Xixian, the chaotic Long Yuan country finally calmed down. What shocked everyone was that the person who ascended the throne was actually the previously inconspicuous fourth prince, Gao Xiaoqian. Everyone knew that the fourth prince, Gao Xiaoqian, was not outstanding in any other aspect besides his good looks. Of course, he was not a clumsy person either. Therefore, the people of Long Yuan country did not expect that he would be able to defeat so many princes and ascend the throne. However, after Gao Xiaoqian ascended to the throne, not only did he restore Yun Luo's officers to their former positions, he even declared that he would hand over the millions of soldiers to Yun Luo. However, even though he had said so, the token that could command the millions of soldiers was never handed over to Yun Luo. On this day, due to some unforeseen events that had happened to Yun Zhao's power, he had to deal with it. Hence, he temporarily left the Yun family home. However, not long after he had left, a group of guards from the imperial palace strode in and surrounded the entire general's mansion in an instant. Chapter 301. What happened? Yun Luo hurriedly walked out and saw the entire courtyard filled with people from the palace. His elderly features sank as he asked, What is your Imperial Majesty planning to do? Or could it be that he also plans to become enemies with the Yun family? At this moment, Yun Luo no longer referred to itself as the general's mansion. Instead, it referred to itself as the Yun family. From this, it could be seen that he no longer felt attached to the royal family. General Yun Luo, the eunuch held the horsetail whisk in his hand and said with a smile, This servant has come to congratulate General Yun Luo. In the future, not only will General Yun Luo regain control of the military, there will also be an empress in your household. Isn't this a cause for celebration? A few days ago, the imperial palace had gone through a great change, and the eunuchs in the palace had also been replaced. Hence, the eunuch who had come this time had a face that Yun Luo was unfamiliar with. Especially that smiling face. Yun Luo felt the urge to punch him fiercely. What empress? The old man snorted coldly. My Yun family doesn't have any empress. Please leave. The eunuch replied in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. General Yin Luo, our imperial majesty has taken a liking to your daughter and has specially ordered me to escort your daughter into the palace. From now on, General Yin Luo, you're a relative of the imperial family. Ha ha! Yin Luo let out a hearty laugh. Have all of you forgotten how my Yin family was so awe-inspiring when we punched the #1 expert of the imperial family? How dare they come knocking on my door now? I thought that Gao Xiaoqin was different from Gao Tu and his son. I didn't expect that the people of the imperial family were all the same. Get the hell out of here right now. My Yin family's daughter will never marry a member of the imperial family. Moreover, Gao Xiaoqin already had many concubines in his harem. How could such a dirty man be worthy of his precious granddaughter? The eunuch's eyes darkened, and he spoke in a strange tone. Yin Luo, don't be so shameless. It's your granddaughter's fortune that the imperial family has taken a liking to her. Do you think that the current Long Yuan nation is still under the control of Gao Tu? Now, I'll let you know that the Yun family is nothing. As soon as he finished speaking, a few figures rushed out from behind him and quickly stood in front of the eunuch. At the same time, the eunuch tossed the horsetail whisk in his hand onto the ground. His body emitted a monstrous aura. You're not from the palace. Yin Luo was greatly astonished, and his footsteps could not help but retreat a few steps. Other than the guards, the others were all advanced spiritualists. In particular, the eunuch and the gray-robed elder were advanced high spiritualists. The Long Yuan nation definitely did not have that many strong martial artists. The eunuch no longer spoke in his treacherous voice and returned to his original tone. His elderly features were filled with a sarcastic smile as he said, "That's right, I'm not a eunuch from the palace. I've only been paid to do my job. Yin Luo, are you going to hand over your granddaughter obediently and continue to be a general, or do you want me to behead you right here and now?" In order to prevent the Yun family from realizing that it was Ling men who were behind this, he deliberately added the line that he had taken their money. Just as the fake eunuch finished speaking, a demonic voice suddenly rang out from the courtyard of the Yun family. "Are you certain you want to behead my old man?" The young girl's voice pierced through the courtyard and fell into the ears of the people in front of her. The fake eunuch frowned slightly. His sharp gaze was like a sharp sword as he shot it towards the beautiful young girl who was walking out to greet him. "Tomorrow, second uncle will appear. Ha ha ha. Second uncle will be able to see the light of day again. Then, it will be time to bully Jinglin and the delusional Gao Xiaoqin. Tomorrow, the female lead will also make a move and expose her true strength. Also, let me tell you a piece of unfortunate news. Tomorrow, this novel will be published. It's a single subscription, not a monthly subscription. Hence, apart from getting a discount, the monthly membership has no other benefits. The fee is 5 coins per chapter. Of course, some people with high VIP status will get a discount. Also, I never said that this novel will always be free. I've already written more than 300,000 words for free. That's why I've been notified that it will be published. The early stages of the novel will definitely be free, but the later stages will have to be paid for. I hope you can understand." Chapter 302. The moment he saw the young girl step forward, a breathtaking light flashed across the fake eunuch's eyes. Even though he had lived for a long time, he had never seen such a stunning woman. It would not be an exaggeration to say that she was the most beautiful woman in the world. It was no wonder that so many men had gone crazy for her. Whether it was Gao Xiaoqin or the man named Yun Xiao, whom his young miss had taken a fancy to, they were all infatuated with her. "Yin Luofeng, are you coming with me yourself? Or do you want me to kidnap you?" The fake eunuch returned to his senses and stared coldly at Yin Luofeng. A fierce look flashed across his eyes. Yin Luofeng raised his eyes and looked at the fake eunuch. "You people don't have the ability to kidnap me." The fake eunuch scoffed. "Little girl, don't be too arrogant. Since you said that we don't have the ability to kidnap you, I'll show you my power now." After saying this, he raised his hand. In an instant, multiple figures rushed towards Yun Luofeng at the same time. Only he and another advanced high spiritualist did not move and watched the scene unfold coldly from the sidelines. "I like to see who dares to touch my granddaughter." The old man was enraged. A valiant force exploded from his old body as he took large strides forward and blocked Yun Luofeng's path. His fierce eyes stared coldly at the group of people who were rushing toward him. Bang! A violent wind was generated from his body as he leaped toward the group of powerhouses who were charging toward him. The wind from his palm, which had used all of the old man's strength, suddenly blocked the group of people a few meters away. The old man wiped the sweat from his forehead, but a sneer still hung on his aged face. How dare these small fries come to the Yun family and cause trouble? Today, as long as I'm still standing here, don't even think about taking my granddaughter away. Also, go back and tell Gao Shaoqian that my granddaughter will never be the empress. The fake eunuch squinted his eyes as a dangerous, cold light flickered in them. "I didn't want to do it myself, but it looks like I'll have to subdue you." Back then, the old man was only able to defeat Lin Feng because of the little hamster's help. This time, it would be useless even if the Yun family used the same trick again. After all, he was not the only advanced spiritualist that came to the Yun residence this time. The old man was well aware of this, but he was not willing to lose to anyone in terms of words. So he sneered. The imperial family's greatest expert, Lin Tian, was also killed by the Yun family. "You're only an advanced high spiritualist. Do you think I'll be afraid of you?" The fake eunuch, did not want to argue with him. He sneered and said, "I'm afraid you know better than anyone else how Lin Tian failed. Even if you defeated him, there are 2 advanced spiritualists here. So how can you stop us by yourself?" The fake eunuch looked at Yun Luo with a mocking gaze. His expression clearly showed that he didn't think much of this old fellow. However, just as he finished speaking, a clear and cold voice suddenly rang out from the Yun family's backyard. That voice was extremely graceful and moving, causing Yun Luo's body to suddenly stiffen. "My apologies, I'm not the only advanced spiritualist in the Yun family." In the inner courtyard, a man in a green robe appeared in everyone's line of sight. The man's footsteps seemed as if he was walking on clouds, and as he walked, white lotuses seemed to rise around him. Even watching him walk was a pleasing sight to the eyes. Chapter 303. Yun Luo was stunned. His eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at the handsome man who seemed to be walking on a lotus. He couldn't even move his gaze away from him. The man did not seem to notice the old man's gaze as he continued to walk towards the crowd. His handsome features lit up with a smile, and his eyes no longer held the dispirited and sorrowful look from before. Instead, it was replaced with a self-confidence that no one could ignore. That's right, it was confidence. In all these years, the old man had never seen such an expression on Yun Qingya's face. Ever since his legs were crippled and he started sitting in a wheelchair, he had lost interest in life. He had even done something like self-harm. "Second uncle, you're here?" Yun Luofeng turned to look at the man walking towards him and asked with a light smile. Yun Qingya curled up the corner of her lips slightly. "I am the leader of the Iron Man Corps after all. I was unable to participate in your matter last time, but this time I want to fight together with the members of my army. Have you thought it through?" Yun Luofeng looked at Yun Qingya seriously. "The current you, are you really going to appear in front of others?" "That's right." Yun Qingya nodded slightly, the smile on her lips becoming more and more moving. "It's been more than 10 years. For the past 10 years, I've been living in a place where there's no daylight. Not only can I not take revenge, I can't even protect my closest family. That's why I plan to stand out now and let those people understand that I, Yun Qingya, am still alive. I will live to seek revenge on them." Looking at the man who was filled with confidence, Yun Luofeng thought of the first time he met him. At that time, the man was sitting on a wheelchair in a dispirited manner. His entire person seemed very depressed, and his eyebrows had lost their luster. "Second uncle." Yun Luofeng clenched his fists tightly. "No matter what you do, I will support you. I will avenge you." No matter what kind of powerful enemy the Yun family was going to face, she was fearless. "Yun Qingya?" When the fake eunuch heard the way these people addressed the man, he was stunned for a moment. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face. Back then, the number one genius of the Yun family, Xianxia, had a dispute with the young city lord of the medical city. In the end, he was chased by the people of the medical city, causing his death. However, no one expected that Xianxia would still be alive. Xianxia was the number one genius of Long Yuan country. However, those who transcended the mortal world did not know of her existence. The reason why he was famous in the mainland was because of the dispute between him and the hedonistic young governor of the medical city. It was precisely because of this dispute that his name shook the world. The man's eyes were cold and indifferent, unmoved by the other party's words. His handsome face was as elegant as ever. His handsome brows were slightly raised and filled with arrogance. Of course, I will take revenge. 10 years. Those people would never be able to imagine what kind of life he had lived in these 10 years. Hence, he would never let go of the person who had caused him to this state. He, the fake eunuch, sneered, "The power of the medical city is monstrous. If the people of the medical city find out that you're still alive, your Yin family will not have a good ending. What's there to talk about revenge?" In particular, the young city lord of the medical city hated Xianxia to the bone. If someone had not stood up to stop this matter back then, the entire Yin family would have been overturned by him. Furthermore, the fake eunuch paused for a moment, then said disdainfully, "I remember that your powers were crippled back then. Even if you're still alive, you're still a piece of trash. What kind of storm could a piece of trash like you stir up?" Chapter 304. Yin Luo was a little anxious. Just as he was about to stand up, a power that was not inferior to his own surged out from Xianxia's body in the next moment. In fact, the power that the man was releasing was even stronger than his own. High spiritualist. The old man was dumbfounded. The man who was standing in the breeze was dumbfounded. He was dumbfounded. This is impossible. Before the old man could come back to his senses, the fake eunuch cried out in alarm. At this moment, the fake eunuch's eyes were wide open, and his face was extremely sinister. The people of the medical city are proficient in medical skills. If they cripple you, you will never be able to recover. How did you not only recover your previous strength, but also break through to a high-rank, high spiritualist? This matter was simply too unbelievable. Not to mention the people from the spirit sect. Even the old man was dumbfounded. Perhaps it was because of the intense shock. The old man suddenly forgot about the current situation. He turned to Yin Luofeng and scolded, "You damn girl, didn't you say that you could help your second uncle recover his strength? Why did he not only recover, but he even fucking surpassed me in rank? Tell me, did you give your second uncle something good to eat but didn't get it to me? This damn girl, would she be unhappy if she didn't scare him for a day? Moreover, she actually didn't tell him about this in advance. She actually caused him to be so embarrassed in this kind of situation. Wasn't it a very embarrassing thing to not even know his own son's strength?" However, what the old man did not expect was that after his words fell, everyone from the spirit sect was shocked. They turned to look at Yin Luofeng in astonishment. "Was it you who cured Xianxia?" The fake eunuch narrowed his eyes slightly, and a dark light appeared in his eyes. Yin Luofeng curled his lips. "What does it have to do with you?" These words completely infuriated the fake eunuch. His expression suddenly turned cold as he sneered. "So what if Xianxia broke through to a high-rank, high spiritualist? You must die today." In the beginning, he still wanted to help Gao Shaoqian establish Yin Luofeng as his empress. But now, there was only one thought in his heart. This young girl was too dangerous. She was definitely not someone that someone like Gao Shaoqian could control. If he did not kill her, there would definitely be endless trouble in the future. Xiaofeng, Xianxia felt the killing intent coming from the fake eunuch's body. She silently blocked Yin Luofeng behind her. Her handsome face revealed a hint of indifference and confidence. "You've worked too hard all these years. As your uncle, I was unable to protect you in my arms. Now, I finally have the strength to protect you. Just leave these people to me." Yin Luofeng gently nodded and slowly took 2 steps back. She also wanted to know second uncle's strength after he became an advanced high spiritualist. The fake eunuch's expression changed. He knew that the eldest miss had underestimated her opponent. They only knew that the Yun family had 11 high spiritualists. Among the 11 high spiritualists, the old man was the only one who was an intermediate high spiritualist. As a safety precaution, 2 advanced high spiritualists were specially sent over. However, what they didn't expect was that Xianxia was still alive. Not only was he alive, but he had also become an advanced paramount spiritualist. Unfortunately, there was no turning back now. For the sake of the spiritual gate, he had to give it his all. "Let's attack." The fake eunuch waved his hand. His body instantly turned into a strong gust of wind and rushed toward Xianxia. The man's green robes fluttered under the strong winds as the corners of his lips curled into a shallow angle. His clear and cold eyes stared at the old man who had leapt into the air. His handsome face did not change at all, and his expression remained as indifferent as ever. Chapter 305. Father, leave these 2 high-level high spiritualists to me. As for the others, you and the Steel Flame Legion will deal with them. The man's voice was as elegant as a song, like a gurgling spring flowing past. The moment it streaked across one's heart, it made one feel very comfortable. Arrogant. The fake eunuch quickly arrived in front of Xianxia and ruthlessly kicked the man's indifferent face. His eyes contained the fierceness of an eagle and leopard. Bang! The moment his foot kicked towards Xianxia, Xianxia unhurriedly raised her hand to block in front of her chest, blocking the kick that was like a hot knife through butter. 10 years ago, I relied on the strength of an advanced middle spiritualist to defeat the young city lord of the medical city, who was a low-level high spiritualist. 10 years later, I can also rely on the strength of an advanced high spiritualist to defeat 2 people of the same realm as me. 10 years ago, in that battle that shocked the continent, the young man from the general's mansion of the secular world used the strength of an advanced middle spiritualist to defeat a person of the high spiritualist realm. Although that battle was very difficult for him, in the end he won. But who knew that the famous hedonistic young city lord of the medical city would harbor a grudge and send experts from his family to hunt him down? But he was lucky enough to escape with his heavily injured body. It was also because of these 2 things that this young man from the general's mansion became famous throughout the continent. Perhaps you didn't know who the emperor of Long Yuan country was, and you might not know the name of General Yun, but you definitely didn't know the 3 words Xianxia. Even now, the people of the continent were still talking about the battle between Xianxia and the young city lord of the medical city, and it was unforgettable for a long time. The fake eunuch's expression became more and more unsightly. He withdrew his hand and looked at the other high-level high spiritualist expert. Then, the 2 of them attacked Xianxia at the same time. His clothes fluttered in the wind. The man took a step forward and stretched out his palm to meet the other party's fist. At the same time, his body leaned to the side, dodging the cold sword light behind him. Taking advantage of the fact that the old man had no time to defend himself, he launched a sneak attack with his right leg, kicking the old man back a few steps. The old man quickly stopped in his tracks and left a deep groove in the ground. His elderly features were extremely serious, and he could not help but break out in cold sweat. It seems like 10 years of not fighting has reduced my combat strength by a lot. Xianxia shook her head. If I still had the combat strength I had back then, that kick just now would have sent you flying 10 meters away. 10 years ago, when he fought against someone at the same cultivation level, his opponent would definitely not be able to fight back. Thus, no one at the same cultivation level as him dared to fight him, because no one at the same cultivation level would be able to withstand a single move from him. That year, the young governor of the medicine city had also heard of his existence when he had gone out to travel. That was why he'd come to challenge him, and it was for the sake of suppressing his might. And when he faced challenges, he would never refuse them. This was also the reason why he ended up like this. Zhao Lin. The fake eunuch's face darkened as he said coldly, "Today, even if we die here in battle, we must kill Yin Luo Feng." The old man called Zhao Lin did not say anything. His old eyes coldly stared at Yin Luo Feng, who was protected by Xianxia. Chapter 306. The killing intent in his eyes grew stronger. You hold Xianxia back, I'll kill Yin Luofeng. After a long while, Zhao Lin slowly opened his mouth. He stood up straight and said expressionlessly, compared to Xianxia, the person who is even more terrifying is her. A doctor who could even cure Xianxia. How powerful was her medical skills? Moreover, compared to spirit practitioners, doctors were even more terrifying. At the very least, spirit practitioners needed to increase their strength and gradually grow. In the space of spirit practitioners' growth, they had plenty of opportunities to kill them. Doctors were different. If she was lucky enough to meet a seriously ill expert and treat him, that expert would owe her a favor. This favor was enough to topple the entire spirit gate. Therefore, Yin Luofeng had to die. All right, the fake eunuch's voice sank. He no longer dared to underestimate Xianxia. He instantly took out a chain from his interspatial ring and swung it at Xianxia. Those who block the path of my spirit gate die. Whoosh! The chain made a dull sound as it quickly wrapped around Xianxia's wrist. Soon after, he shouted at Zhao Lin. Quick, go kill Yin Luofeng. Zhao Lin's eyes narrowed, and he quickly rushed towards Yin Luofeng. The long sword in his hand swept out a cold light, accompanied by a murderous aura from his body, and he swooped down towards the girl standing under the breeze. The young girl's body was still lazily leaning against the tree trunk. An evil smile hung on the corner of her lips. She did not even raise her head, as if she did not feel the appearance of the sword light. Qing Yan's eyes revealed a strong sense of ridicule. Did these people think they could hurt the young miss? Even if 100 high spiritualists came, they wouldn't be enough for the young miss to kill. Now that the young miss had not made a move, it was only to let the second master regain his sense of accomplishment. After all these years, the second master had been hiding in the shadows and did not stand out to protect the young miss. As a result, the second master had always felt guilty in his heart. That was why the young miss had treated these people with silence. Ha! A crisp sound rang out in the quiet front yard. After the fake eunuch came back to his senses, he saw Xianxia break the chains that bound him. A set of green clothes quickly swept past, blocking in front of Yin Luofeng. You're courting death. The man who had always been cold and indifferent finally let out an angry roar. A bronze sword had appeared in his hand. With a poochie sound, it pierced into Zhao Lin's chest. Blood splattered and dyed the man's green robes red. He raised his head indifferently and stared coldly at the old man who was slowly falling to the ground. With me here, who dares to harm Xiaofeng? In the past, he didn't have the strength to protect her, but now, he wouldn't allow anyone to bully her. The fake eunuch was stunned at the sight before him. A trace of fear appeared on his elderly face. Zhao Lin was dead. Zhao Lin, whose strength was on par with his, actually died so easily at Xianxia's hands. If he forcibly rushed forward, his ending would not be any better than Zhao Lin's. At the thought of this, the fake eunuch's heart trembled. A single word appeared in his mind. Run. When this word appeared, he no longer hesitated. He turned around and wanted to escape out of the courtyard. However, before he could step out of the door, his footsteps involuntarily froze. The young girl's body leaned lazily against the door railing. Her pitch-black eyes contained an evil glint as she looked at him with a smile. Chapter 307. Where are you going? Her voice was like a nightmare, lingering in Zhao Lin's heart, causing his heart to tremble a few times. Just a moment ago, this young girl was clearly standing behind Xianxia, but the moment he turned around, she had already appeared beside the door. Could it be she was a ghost? Otherwise, how could he have changed his position so silently? Yin Luofeng. The fake eunuch's eyes darkened as he forced himself to calm down. Who the hell are you? Yin Luofeng faintly raised the corner of his lips. His languid body slowly left the door railing and walked towards the fake eunuch, whose face was pale. Don't you all know who I am? But I don't know. What is your purpose in coming here? The fake eunuch coldly snorted. Of course it's to make you the empress. Hearing this, Yin Luofeng shook his head. It seems that you are not willing to tell the truth. Since that's the case, I have no interest in asking any further. Killing intent flashed in the fake eunuch's eyes. He instantly pulled out his sword and shouted gloomily, "Yin Luo Feng, go to hell." He was originally worried about how to kill this woman. He didn't expect her to deliver herself to his doorstep. Now that she was a distance away from Xianxia, no one could save her. As long as he could kill Yin Luo Feng, even if he died here, it would be worth it. However, just as he was ferociously charging towards Yin Luo Feng, he suddenly seemed to have tripped. His entire body staggered forward and fell head first to the ground. What was even more shocking was that the sword in his hand turned around as it fell. The sharp hilt of the sword was aimed at his chest, and with a poochie sound, it pierced into his body. The fake eunuch was also dead. He had died in his own hands. No one would have thought that a high-level expert would actually fall in a fight and die under his own sword. Was all of this really a coincidence? In fact, the moment the fake eunuch pulled out his sword, Yin Luo Feng had secretly taken a few stones in his hand. One of the stones struck the false eunuch in the crook of his knee and caused him to tumble. The second stone hit his arm, causing him to be unable to hold the sword in his hand. As for the third one, it was clear that Yin Luofeng's action of turning the sword around and pointing it at the fake eunuch was also his doing. Therefore, everything was a trap, and the fake eunuch fell into her trap. This is the consequence of not looking where you're going. Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a faint smile. Second uncle, let the army deal with these people. I don't want to see anyone go back alive. In addition, after we're done with these matters, we'll go to the palace to settle the score with Gao Shaoqian. What did you say? Inside the inn, Xixian's palm landed heavily on the table. Her face immediately darkened. Zhao Lin and the others failed? After sending Zhao Lin and the others to the Yun family, Xixian sent another person to hide in the crowd to investigate the situation. Unexpectedly, not only did Zhao Lin and the others fail, even the Yun family's Xianxia was still alive. Yun family, Yin Luo Feng, Xianxia. Xixian slowly calmed her restless heart, and a faint smile appeared on her lips. Originally, I was still struggling on how to deal with Yin Luo Feng. Who would have thought that the Yun family would give me this opportunity so quickly? Chapter 308. Yin Luo Feng. If you obediently became Gao Shaoqian's empress, perhaps so many things wouldn't have happened, but you went and thought about someone you shouldn't have. So, don't blame me for being heartless. Go to the medical city immediately and tell the people of the city lord's mansion that Xianxia is still alive. After hearing this news, the people of the medical city will definitely not let the Yun family go. Xixian laughed coldly. As long as she spread this news to the medical city, it wouldn't be long before the Yun family was destroyed. At that time, without Yin Luo Feng, she would be able to enter Yun Zhao's world and give this cold man the best care. Moreover, she believed that it would be easier for her to become a qualified wife than Yin Luo Feng. At least, she wouldn't be willing to let that man become her guard, unlike Yin Luo Feng, who actually dared to order him to do things for her. She didn't even look at her lowly status. What right did she have to order him around? Yes, eldest Mississippi, the spirit gate protector, cupped his fists and silently retreated from the inn room. Suddenly, only Xixian was left in the entire room. Yin Xiao, you are mine. Her eyes were infatuated as she murmured, I will not let any woman tarnish your purity. For a man like Yin Xiao, who was as cold and pure as a piece of white paper, how could he be tainted by a bit of black stain? Yin Luo Feng was that stain. Letting her get close to Yin Xiao would only pollute him. Therefore, she would never allow this to happen. Of course, Yin Luo Feng did not know what Xixian was thinking. At this moment, she was standing in the study, being interrogated by the old man. Speak. Why didn't you tell me about your second uncle? The old man was a little annoyed. This girl actually hid this matter for so long and did not say it to make him happy. Yin Luo Feng shrugged his shoulders. Because the process of treating second uncle was too harsh, I was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold on, so I didn't tell you for now. The old man glared at her. Then what good things did you give your second uncle? Why was he able to break through to the high spirit realm? If you have such good things, why aren't you taking them out to show your filial piety to me? Facing the old man who was blowing his beard and glaring at him, Yin Luofeng said seriously, I have indeed given second uncle some good things. If you want them, I can give them to you as well. However, you will need to first cripple your strength. Then, after 10 years of accumulation, I will be able to give you the good things that second uncle has been enjoying. This way, when you recover your strength, you will be able to advance by leaps and bounds. At first, when he heard Yin Luofeng's words, the old man was filled with joy. He was just about to think of a way to snatch those good things, but who knew that the young girl's tone would suddenly change, and what she said made the old man roll his eyes a few times. I can't afford to enjoy such good things. What kind of joke was this? A good thing that could only be enjoyed after 10 years had to be abolished. What kind of good thing was that? You would have to be crazy to be a waste for 10 years just to break through. This is what you don't want. It's not that I'm hiding it from you. The corners of Yin Luofeng's lips curled up into a demonic smile, and his black eyes turned towards the silent Xianxia. Second uncle, now that our Yun family's power is gradually growing, you can also tell me your enemy. Xianxia sighed and said with a bitter smile, Back then, I fought with the young city lord of the medical city and defeated him. Because of this, he lost all face. That's why I attracted the crazy revenge of the medical city. Originally, the people of the medical city wanted to exterminate the entire Yun family, but the Doctors Association stood up for the medical city. Chapter 309. Physicians Association. Yin Luofeng's face darkened. What is this Doctors Association? Xianxia glanced at her and continued, The Doctors Association is an association established by many doctors on the continent. Whether it's the medical pavilion or the medical city, they all belong to this Doctors Association. Moreover, this Doctors Association is extremely powerful and has an important position in the entire continent. Why would the Doctors Association help our Yun family? Yin Luofeng stroked his chin, his voice filled with doubt. The Physicians Association isn't helping the Yun clan. Rather, the matter back then was too huge. If the Physicians Association didn't step forward to stop it, it would have brought shame to the entire association. The implication was that the Doctors Association had stepped forward to stop the medical city, not because of the Yun family, but because they did not want to bring shame to the association. After all, Xianxia had only defeated the young city lord of the medical city, but she had attracted such crazy revenge. It was one thing for him to take revenge on Xianxia, but he even wanted to destroy the entire Yun family. If this matter were spread out, how would the world view the Doctors Association? But Xianxia's voice paused, and a trace of worry gradually appeared on his handsome face. Back then, the Doctors Association signed an agreement with the people of the medical city. If I am still alive, they will not stop the medical city from taking revenge on the Yun family. The fucking condition for stopping the Doctors Association is my death. Yin Luofeng's lips curled up, and his words were laced with coldness. In the eyes of the world, the Doctors Association is very fair, and they don't allow their subordinates to exterminate the human race. However, those who are observant can see that the Doctors Association is obviously biased towards the medical city. Xianxia fell silent. She understood that what Yin Luofeng said made sense. The Doctors Association was indeed talking about the medical city. Second uncle, you didn't do anything wrong. Yin Luofeng raised his evil eyes. You were only sparring with someone. You didn't intentionally hurt anyone. Just because you defeated someone, so you're the one to wrong? On the arena, there is victory and defeat to begin with. I've never heard of only defeat and not victory. The girl's voice was arrogant and domineering, and her pitch-black eyes were deep. Why should you be hunted down just because you defeated others? If the Doctors Association was truly fair, they wouldn't have allowed the people from the medical city to attack you. But those people used your death as a condition in exchange for the peace and harmony of the Yun family. Anyone can see the obvious favoritism. Xianxia clenched her fists tightly, her eyes filled with deep hatred. That's right, he had done nothing wrong back then. However, the people from the Doctors Association judged that he was at fault. Furthermore, the condition for them to organize the medical city to attack the Yun family was his death. Xiaofeng, there's something you don't know. The daughter of the city lord of the medical city is the disciple of an elder of the Doctor Association. Therefore, the Doctors Association is definitely biased towards the medical city. Hearing the man's words, Yin Luofeng finally understood. She slowly walked in front of Xianxia and gently placed her hand on his shoulder. Second uncle, don't worry. I will avenge you. Xianxia's gaze softened as she lovingly rubbed Yin Luofeng's head. Little Fenger, you've grown up. You're also the greatest hope of our Yin family. If brother and sister-in-law were to see you in heaven, they would definitely be gratified. Thinking of Yin Yang and his wife who had passed away, the atmosphere in the study grew quiet. After a while, Yin Luofeng looked up at the elegant man in front of her. Her gaze was firm and domineering. Chapter 310. Second uncle, it's getting late. I'm going back to my room to rest. Tomorrow, I still have to go to the palace to settle the score with Gao Xiaochen. Also, whether it's the medical city or the Doctors Association, as long as they have offended the Yun family, no matter how far away they are, I will kill them. Those who offend the Yun family will be punished no matter how far away they are. Since she said it, she would definitely do it. I believe you. Xianxia smiled faintly. Her gaze was as gentle as moonlight as it shone on Yin Luofeng's body. Her expression was filled with trust in her. All right, go back and rest early. You must be tired after half a year. Looking at the man's concerned eyes, Yin Luofeng didn't say anything else. However, at this moment, her heart was even more determined than before. In the study, Xianxia stared at the young girl's departing figure. The gentle smile on her face slowly disappeared. Father, was it wrong for me to stand up so early? The Yin family had too many enemies, but he had stood out at this time. If he brought trouble to the Yin family, he would not be able to absolve himself of the blame, even if he died 10,000 times. Xianxia, you don't have to think too much about it. You've been hiding for 10 years. Now that you've recovered your strength, it's time for you to stand out and face the world. Yin Luo sighed helplessly and said in a comforting tone. Xianxia laughed bitterly. I've endured it for 10 years, but why can't I endure it today? I really hope that Xiaofeng won't be in danger because of me. Yin Luo chuckled. This little girl's innate talent is very strong and her potential is limitless. I believe that with her in the Yin family, they will definitely walk the path of supremacy. What we, the family, should do is to believe in her abilities and become her eternal shield. From his perspective, Yin Luofeng could not stay in a small place like the Long Yuan nation forever. She belonged to the vast and boundless continent. At that time, they only needed to be her shield and protect this home for her. Father, Xianxia smiled. Little Fenger needs space to grow. As long as she is given space, no one in the continent will be her match in the future. So, if the Yin family is truly unable to resist the medicine city, hand me over. As long as Xiaofeng is here, I believe that she will avenge me sooner or later. In this way, I can rest in peace in the netherworld. Imperial Palace. In the Imperial study, Gao Xiaochen was holding a cup of wine in his hand. He raised his head and downed the contents of the cup. His handsome face was flushed red, and his body began to sway unsteadily. Even so, he still drank one cup after another, completely unable to stop. Your Majesty, a lady dressed in a peach-colored palace dress slowly walked up to Gao Xiaochen. Her slender jade-like arms gently supported the man's swaying body. She called out softly, "You are drunk. This concubine will help you back to the palace to rest." The girl's body carried an intoxicating fragrance. Gao Xiaochen lifted his eyes slightly and looked at the girl who was supporting him. At this moment, his eyes were hazy from intoxication and his vision was blurry. However, in this hazy state, he seemed to see a beautiful face that he had been worried about. Xiaofeng, did you confine me? The woman's body stiffened. She had loved this man for so many years and had gone to great lengths to become one of his women. But the one he was longing for was another woman. Xiaofeng, if I am willing to disperse the harem for you, are you willing to marry me? Gao Xiaoqian tightly held onto the woman's arm, his eyes filled with gentleness. This gentleness was not what he pretended to be on the surface. It came from the bottom of his heart. Chapter 3:11. The woman stared blankly at the man who was grabbing her arm. Her heart gradually began to tear apart, and blood flowed nonstop. He wanted to dismiss the harem, disbanding the harem for a woman. If that was the case, then where did he put them? Your Majesty, you've drunk too much. This concubine should help you to rest. No. Gao Xiaoqian forcefully grabbed the woman and pulled her into his embrace. I'm not drunk. I'm very sober. Fenger, I thought that it was impossible for a person like me to have feelings for others. In the beginning, I wanted to understand everything about you because I wanted to use you. But I didn't expect that the more I understood you, the deeper I fell for you. I can promise you now, other than you, I won't touch any other woman. I just hope that you don't leave me. He had originally thought that from today onwards, Yin Luofeng could become his wife. However, he did not expect that the experts of the spirit sect would actually fail. Xianxia was still alive. The man who had once swept through the entire Long Yuan country was actually still alive. Even his strength had broken through to the high spirit realm. Therefore, he had made his final decision. She had once said that if he became her man, he could only have her as a woman. Therefore, he was willing to dismiss the harem for her. In this way, she would be able to live by his side. Your Majesty, I'm not Yin Luofeng. Before the woman could finish her sentence, she was stopped by the man's lips. With a ripping sound, he raised his hand and tore the woman's dress into pieces, which floated in the study. Xiaofeng, you really came. I knew that as long as I helped you disperse the harem, you would definitely come to my side. The woman's body froze. When she raised her eyes, she met a pair of gentle eyes. Those eyes were so gentle that it seemed as if they wanted to drown her alive. The woman in the palace dress closed her eyes and obediently fell into Gao Xiaoqian's embrace, allowing him to be extremely gentle on her body, leaving those marks one after another, as long as he could give her a gentle night. So what if he treated her as someone else, who told her to love him so deeply that she couldn't extricate herself? The next day, Gao Xiaoqian opened his eyes on the luxurious dragon bed. He rubbed his throbbing temples as a look of confusion appeared in his eyes. He remembered that he had been drinking alone in the imperial study yesterday. In the end, he had seen Yin Luofeng appear, and the two of them had been making love in the study. But why would he appear in the dragon bed? Right, Yin Luofeng. Gao Xiaoqian quickly returned to his senses and hurriedly looked at the woman next to him. When he saw that familiar face, he was completely stunned. Your Majesty. The woman rubbed her sleepy eyes and slowly sat up on the bed. What's wrong? Just as she finished speaking, a large hand suddenly grabbed her neck fiercely. She raised her head in shock, and a malevolent face instantly appeared in her eyes. Bitch, why is it you? The person he saw last night was Yin Luofeng. Why was it this woman? Your Majesty, ahem. The woman was choked so hard that she couldn't speak. She kept coughing and tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. She looked at Gao Xiaoqian sadly. Thump! Gao Xiaoqian flung the woman off him and roared angrily. Bitch, who allowed you to appear in the study last night? The woman's body hit the wall and slowly slid down. A trickle of bright red blood flowed from the corner of her lips, and her beautiful eyes filled with despair. Your Majesty, I'm worried about you. Chapter 3:12. Her voice was filled with resentment, hoping that Gao Xiaoqian would feel a little pity for her. Unfortunately, this man's heart was harder than a rock. His cold eyes were filled with murderous intent. Last night, we swore that from now on, I would never touch any woman again. Yet, you appeared in the royal study without permission and pretended to be Xiaofeng to confuse us. Your Imperial Majesty. The woman raised her eyes and stared at Gao Xiaoqian in disbelief. Gao Xiaoqian had clearly mistaken her for someone else. Yet, she said that she had pretended to be Yin Luofeng to confuse him. Could it be that I have no place in his heart despite having accompanied him for so many years? The woman felt extremely sad at the thought of this. A bitter smile appeared on her face. All these years, has your Imperial Majesty ever loved me? You are not Yin Luofeng. We only love Yin Luofeng. Gao Xiaoqian's expression was cold and stern. He no longer had the gentleness that he had initially displayed. Since you have pretended to be her, you must accept your punishment. Your Imperial Majesty, don't be so stubborn. Yin Luofeng would never like you. The Yin family's power is overwhelming. No one can force her to do anything. The woman propped herself up. Her beautiful face was deathly pale, and her beautiful eyes were filled with tears. She looked very pitiful. Shut up. Gao Xiaoqian flew into a rage out of humiliation. He raised his hand and strangled the woman's neck again. This time, he used all of his strength. The woman who had been struggling in his grasp gradually stopped moving, and her body slowly cooled down. Slut, how dare you climb in my bed? You deserve to die. Gao Xiaoqian tossed the woman's body onto the ground. He then picked up the dragon robe that was hanging on the bed and put it on. The moment he put on the dragon robe, a familiar voice rang out from outside the palace, causing his body to suddenly stiffen. I wanted to settle the score with you today, but I never thought that I would see such a show. Under the morning light, the young woman walked gracefully over the high doorsill. Her smile was as alluring as ever. Her dark eyes were filled with mirth. Her snow-white dress fluttered gently in the wind. She was so beautiful that no one could look away. It wasn't as if Gao Xiaoqian had never seen Yin Luofeng before. He did not have a good impression of the cowardly Yin Luofeng from before. In fact, he had never even looked at her. When did he start paying attention to her? Perhaps it was the encounter at the medical pavilion, or perhaps it was the good show on the Qin River boat. But no matter when he noticed her, he was destined to fall into such a tragic end. Feng! Gao Xiaoqian's face lit up with a smile as he stared at the young girl who had appeared in the doorway. If I had never had a woman before, would you be willing to be my woman? There are no ifs in this world. Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows slightly. So I cannot choose you. Gao Xiaoqian's heart violently trembled. That's right, there were no ifs in this world. However, if he was given a chance to start over, he would definitely remain chaste and wait for her to appear. Also, Yin Luofeng paused, then continued. Even if there was an if, I would not choose you. Why? Gao Xiaoqian asked in confusion. Back then, she had said that as her man, he could only have her as his woman. Since he was willing to do as she had said, why would she not choose him? A grim and handsome face appeared in front of Yin Luofeng, and the corners of his lips curled into an angle. Chapter 313. There's a man who is willing to humble himself and come to my side. He is willing to be ordered around by me. No matter what I do, he will help me without hesitation. Even if I commit a serious crime of murder, he is willing to become the enemy of the entire world just to stand by my side. Can you do that? Gao Xiaoqian laughed bitterly. He really liked Yin Luofeng, but he would never humble himself for her, much less become the enemy of the entire mainland. That was why he had lost to someone else. I understand. There was a flash of pain in Gao Xiaoqian's eyes. I'm indeed not as good as the person you speak of. Because of my own selfish desires, I have brought you so much trouble. Don't worry, I will commit suicide in the palace. Take it as atonement. After saying this, Gao Xiaoqian seemed to have thought of something and continued. I have one more thing to tell you. Yesterday, the reason why I went to the general's estate to cause trouble for you was because of Xianxia's orders. Xian? Yin Luofeng was stunned and asked, why did Xian want me to marry you? Gao Xiaoqian's smile was a little helpless. Xian likes Yin Xiao. Initially, he had thought that Yin Xiao was just an ordinary guard. However, when Xian appeared, he realized that he was the most well-hidden person in the entire Yun family. If Yin Xiao was not special, why would Xian fall in love with him so deeply? She had even sent people to the general's residence after Yin Xiao had left. If one were to say that she was not afraid of Yin Xiao, he would never believe it. But at that time, he was already riding a tiger and could not back down. He could only listen to Xian's orders. I understand. Yin Luofeng raised her head to look at the man standing in front of her. In order to thank you for telling me this, I will leave you with the last shred of self-respect. Kill yourself. Gao Xiaoqian's thin lips moved slightly. Thank you. After saying these two words, Gao Xiaoqian hung the sword on the wall. He pulled out the sword from the wall and gently slit his neck. Fresh blood immediately spurted out and stained the floor of the bedchamber red. Yun Luofeng watched the man's gradually collapsing body without a ripple of emotion in her eyes. Then, she slowly walked out of the bedchamber. Gao Xiaoqian reaped the consequences he had today. If he had not joined forces with the spirit order to harm the Yun family, she would not have been so ruthless. She would never allow anyone to harm the Yun family, even if it was just a thought. Little Mo, do you think I'm being too cruel? Yun Luofeng paused for a moment after stepping out of the palace gates, then sent a spiritual message. Master, this world follows the law of the jungle. You don't need to feel any burden. Besides, if you aren't cruel, others will be cruel to you. Little Mo's voice was childish, but it made Yun Luofeng chuckle. Xiao Mo, I did not have any relatives in my previous life. I only had a master. In this life, I have grandfather, second uncle, and Yun Xiao. I can tolerate anyone disrespecting me, but I cannot tolerate anyone threatening the Yun family. If our Yun family isn't strong enough, I will be forcefully brought into the palace. Grandfather and the others won't have a good ending either. Kindness? In her previous life, when she was young, she watched as her parents were robbed of their wealth and killed in a pool of blood. She did not know what kindness was. A kind person would always be bullied. This was an unchanging principle since ancient times. As long as she could help the Yun family get rid of any trouble, even if her hands were stained with blood, she would not regret it. Chapter 314. The streets of the imperial city were no longer as peaceful as they used to be. When the passers-by saw Yun Luofeng, they could not help but start discussing. Have you heard about what happened recently? His Majesty the Emperor wanted to marry Yun Luofeng, but she rejected him. Not only that, Yun Xianxia from the Yun family is still alive and has become a high spiritualist. TSK, I have to say that Yun Luofeng really knows how to reincarnate. Otherwise, with her useless physique, wouldn't she be at the mercy of others? That's right. Though Yun Luofeng is a doctor, she has no cultivation at all. With this kind of strength, she won't be able to do anything. If not for the general support, let's see how arrogant she can be. These people did not deliberately avoid Yun Luofeng. Instead, they dragged out their words as if they were purposely talking to her. Master, go and kill them. Go and kill these bastards. Xiao Mo was about to explode from anger. These people dare to say that his master was useless. If his master was useless, would there still be geniuses in this world? Furthermore, the reason why the Yun family was where it was today was because of his master. These people can only speak without thinking. Yun Luofeng stretched lazily. It doesn't affect me. I don't need to waste my time on these people. Xiao Mo puffed up his cute little face in anger. He could not understand why his master did not reveal his strength when the fake eunuch brought people to cause trouble. Why did he secretly kill the fake eunuch? If these people knew his master's strength, would they still dare to slander him? Miss, just as Yun Luofeng was absent-mindedly walking down the street, a hurried voice suddenly rang out in front of him. The person was panting slightly. Miss, something bad has happened. The people from the medical city are here. What should we do? Medical city? Yun Luofeng's footsteps paused. Even though she knew that the people from the medical city would be here soon, she did not expect it to be so fast. It had only been one night, and these people had actually come to Long Yuan country. Let's go. Yun Luofeng lowered his eyes, and his lips curled into an evil smile. I would like to see the strong cultivators of the medical city. In the great hall of the Yun family, the old man's face was cold and expressionless. His sharp eyes swept over the old man, standing in the great hall. The old man's expression was cold, and his face was old. Two middle-aged men followed behind him, and they were like Mount Tai guarding behind the old man. The old man didn't even look at the old man. Instead, his gaze fell on Yun Xianxia, who was beside the old man. He sneered, Yun Xianxia, I never thought that you, who were heavily injured back then, would still be alive. Even your dantian had been repaired. Don't forget that the medical city had let the Yun family go on the condition that you die. Now that you're standing here in one piece, don't tell me that the Yun family doesn't intend to give me an explanation. His last sentence was naturally directed at the old man. As soon as he finished speaking, a powerful pressure spread out and filled the entire hall. The old man's face was a little pale. His hand that was holding the teacup trembled uncontrollably. His elderly face was solemn. Was this the pressure of an earth spirit? The difference between an earth spirit warrior and a high spirit warrior was not just a little bit. The old man took a deep breath and put down the teacup in his hand. He said, "Your medical city once caused Xianxia to suffer for 10 years. Isn't that enough? What did Xianxia do wrong? Just because he won the challenge, he had to die in this world?" Chapter 315. That's right. The old man's eyes were as cold as knives. His aura was imposing and domineering. Who told him to have the guts to defeat my young master? If he admitted defeat, this would not have happened. Who knows, our medical city might have befriended you because of your knowledge. There would definitely be countless benefits, but who knew that Xianxia was too stupid? She even dared to hit my young master. She's courting death. Boom! The old man punched the wall, and the sturdy wall of the Yun family instantly collapsed. Yun Luo's face darkened. It was someone from your medical city who challenged my son first. In the arena, there should be fairness. He lost my son because his skills were inferior to others, and he asked for it. Don't tell me you want my son to stand still and let him hit him? Humph. The old man snorted. Xianxia should not have fought back. He should have stood still and let my young master beat him up. My young master could have saved him 10 years of pain by beating him up, but he had the guts to ask for trouble. Yun Luo was so angry that he almost went crazy. He had thought that he was shameless enough, but he did not expect this old man to be even more shameless than him. How could he say such words? The challenge was based on fairness. Why did the young master of the medical city issue a challenge? But his son had to stand still and let him beat him up. Was this still considered a challenge? Then what does your medical city want now? Yun Luo gritted his teeth, his old face ashen. The destruction of a Yun family, or the death of Xianxia. Bang! Yun Luo slammed the table and stood up, shouting angrily, "Don't go too far in the medical city. 10 years ago, I did not protect Xianxia well, and let him suffer for 10 years. Now, I will not allow anyone to touch a single hair on my son's head." The old man sneered, feeling disdainful of Yun Luo's words. Yun Luo, the strongest person in your Yun family, is only a high-level high spirit. As an earth spirit, do you think that you can stop me with your strength? His eyes were filled with contempt, as if he did not place the Yun family in his eyes. Indeed, the Yun family was very powerful in the Long Yuan country. However, in the eyes of these powerful families, a small Yun family was nothing. Back then, I wanted to exterminate the entire Yun family, but the Doctors Association came out to stop me, allowing your Yun family to stay for another 10 years. But don't forget, because Xianxia died, our medical city let your Yun family go, and we even reached an agreement with the Doctors Association. If Xianxia was still alive, they would not have come out to stop us from destroying the Yun family. Yun Luo's heart gradually sank. 10 years ago, if the Doctors Association had not stood up for them, the Yun family would not have been able to escape this calamity. Xianxia, the old man continued to sneer. Since you're still alive, you should find a dark place to hide for the rest of your life. I didn't expect you to actually dare to walk in broad daylight. You're clearly courting death. Today, if the Yun family is not destroyed, I will not leave Long Yuan Nation. The old man no longer held back his aura. It surged out like an earth-shattering storm, turning into an invisible storm that pressed down on the old man and Xianxia. Boom! Just as the aura surged towards the old man and Yun Qingfeng, a powerful aura came from outside the door, shattering his pressure. Then, a lazy voice slowly rang out, landing in the silent hall. "Only left for a moment, and you came to bully my old man and second uncle? If my old man gets a heart attack because of you, even if you have 100 lives, it won't be enough to compensate." Chapter 316. The old man frowned slightly and turned to look at the young girl who was walking in. His face darkened. "You're Yin Luofeng? Yin Luofeng's granddaughter?" Yin Luofeng blinked lightly. "It seems like I'm the only one named Yin Luofeng." "Oomph." The old man brushed his sleeves. "You're so young, and yet you're already so naughty. You dare to blackmail an old man? When did I make Yin Luofeng so angry that he had a heart attack?" Yin Luofeng curled his lips. "My old man's heart isn't good, and he can't take fright. You're so fierce to him. If something happens to him because of you, the medical city really can't afford to compensate." Yin Luofeng rolled his eyes. When did his heart become so fragile? However, in order to cooperate with his granddaughter, Yin Luofeng lifted his hand to his forehead and pretended to be weak. "Sigh. I'm a person who can't take a fright. You scared me just now and made me sick. I'm now dizzy and my heart is twitching. Tell me, how does your medical city plan to compensate me?" "You?" The old man's expression suddenly changed. "Yin Luofeng, you're shameless." This old man had just been jumping around and had a big temper. Now, he looked like he was on the verge of collapse. Who would believe that? Shameless? No one can be more shameless than you. Yin Luofeng curled his lips. "After all, I didn't say that I would let my opponent stand still and let my family beat him up in the arena." The old man's fluctuating emotions slowly calmed down. He said expressionlessly, "Yin Luofeng, no matter what you say, none of your Yin family members will escape today." Squeak, squeak. Milk tea crawled out from Yin Luofeng's sleeve. A pair of round eyes looked at the old man with disdain. That expression seemed to be mocking him. The old man was furious. This Yin family was extremely daring. Even a gold-seeking rat was so daring. Since that was the case, he would first crush this damned gold-seeking rat to death. "You're courting death," the old man shouted loudly. He raised his hand to grab the little hamster that had burrowed into Yin Luofeng's palm. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness. Milk tea hid into Yin Luofeng's sleeve with a swoosh. Only her little head was exposed as she squeaked mockingly. "Xiaofeng, be careful." Xianxia turned pale with fright. With a leap, she dove towards the old man who was attacking Yin Luofeng. Her handsome face was filled with anxiety. But, just as the old man's hand was about to touch Yin Luofeng, Yin Luofeng's figure flashed and he disappeared. When the old man came back to his senses, a gust of cold wind hit him from behind, causing his back to stiffen. Boom! The girl kicked the old man's back, sending him flying several meters away. Even the wall was smashed by his body, and he fell into the crowd on the street. The entire Yin family fell silent because of the girl's actions. Even the middle-aged men that the old man had brought along were stunned. His master's strength had long broken through to the earth spirit realm. But this young girl only used one kick to send him flying. Even though part of the reason was that the Lord had underestimated the enemy. If one wanted to kick him, one's own strength had to reach the level of an earth spirit. A teenage earth spiritualist? What kind of concept was that? No one would believe him if he told them. But now this scene was playing out in front of them. The old man looked at Yin Luofeng in a daze. "Girl, what realm has your strength broken through to?" Yin Luofeng looked at the old man in the crowd. "The same level as him." Chapter 3:17. Boom! As if a bolt of lightning had struck down, the old man was dumbfounded. Even his breathing became uneven. He hurriedly covered his heart and staggered backwards. Just as Xianxia came back to her senses, she saw the old man holding his heart and falling backwards. She hurriedly stepped forward to support the old man. "Father, how are you?" The old man leaned on Xianxia's body and rolled his eyes. He opened his mouth but could not make a sound. Xianxia hurriedly stroked his chest and helped him breathe. She asked nervously, "Father, are you feeling better?" After a long time, the old man finally felt that he could breathe again. He fiercely sucked in a breath of cold air and glared at Yin Luofeng angrily. "Damned girl, tell me, how many times have you scared me ever since I came back to Long Yuan country? Furthermore, you actually broke through to the earth spirit realm without a sound." That was an earth spirit realm. At such an old age, he had only reached the middle stage of the high spirit realm. This girl was only 15 years old, yet she had already become an earth spirit realm. How could he live like this? It was truly infuriating to compare oneself to others. Although this was what Yin Luo had said, he felt very proud in his heart. Which family's granddaughter was as talented as his? Not to mention Mu Wushuang. Even a young miss of the spirit sect might not be able to compare to her. At this moment, outside the Prime Minister's residence, there was a large crowd. Among these people, there were also the people who had mocked Yin Luofeng just now. Now, looking at the scene in front of them, everyone miraculously quieted down. It was so quiet that even the breathing of the people beside them could be heard clearly. A person who had broken through to the Earth Spirit realm at the age of 15 was actually called trash by them. If she was still trash, how could there be geniuses in this world? Thinking of this, those who had humiliated her all lowered their heads in shame. Some of them even wished they could find a hole to hide in. I originally thought that the young miss of the Yun family, Yin Luofeng, only knew medical skills and was still unable to cultivate. However, I had forgotten that her medical skills were so powerful that she could even cure the second master of the Yun family. Why couldn't she cure herself? It turns out that she had unknowingly grown to this point. If I had known Yin Luofeng's strength, I wouldn't have humiliated her at all. Right, where is Jing Lin? He was the one who encouraged us to humiliate Miss Yin. Where'd he go? Jing Lin? Yin Luofeng, who originally had no intention of discussing with the people outside, couldn't help but turn his head to look after hearing these two words. That day, when she had killed her way into the imperial palace, Jing Lin had already escaped as soon as he saw that the situation was not good. However, she had not expected that he would not leave Long Yuan country. Instead, he was hiding in the dark, tried to use other people's voices to disgust her. But what Jing Lin didn't expect was that not only would she not be moved by those insulting voices, she was also no longer the trash she used to be. Master! Right at this time, Yiling carried an old man who was trembling all over and walked in from outside the door. She threw him on the ground in front of Yin Luofeng. This guy was sneaking around here, so I caught him and brought him in. Yin Luofeng lowered his eyes and looked at Jing Lin on the ground. The corners of his lips curled up. I don't have time to deal with him now. You keep an eye on him. After I've settled the matter in the medical city, I'll come and settle the score with him. The girl's voice was demonic and awe-inspiring, causing Jing Lin's body to stiffen. He lowered his head tightly, wishing he could bury in the ground. Chapter 3:18. If he had known earlier, he would have decisively left Long Yuan country and fled far away. It would have been better than being caught by this woman. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. No matter how much Jing Lin regretted it, it was useless. Yin Luofeng no longer looked at him. Her eyes turned to the old man from the medical city, and her evil black eyes were filled with a smile. How did your medical city hurt my second uncle back then? One day, I will make you pay 10,000 times the price. The old man sneered and slowly got up from the ground. His mocking gaze fell on Yin Luofeng. Yin Luofeng, do you think I'm the only one from the medical city who came here? Hee, I have to say your luck is really good. If the young miss of the spirit sect reported your matter to the medical city, maybe the medical city would only send an earth spirit warrior. However, who told you to be so lucky? This time, our medical city happened to be near Long Yuan country, so before he could finish his sentence, an even older voice slowly came from the void. Little girl from the Yin family, your talent is indeed not bad. It's much higher than your second uncle's. If the person we faced back then wasn't your second uncle, but you, maybe I would have to personally make a move to capture you. Walking in the air, heavenly spirit realm? Yin Luofeng stared at the old man who had appeared in the air, and her eyes gradually darkened. She did not expect that there would be a heavenly spirit realm cultivator coming to the Yun family this time. This time, she had indeed been careless. In the beginning, the reason why she did not reveal her strength in front of others was because she had considered the existence of the medical city. For a power like the medical city, the experts were all very busy. Therefore, they would not send people who were too strong to the Yun family. They would only send people who were one level higher than the Yun family. This was also why second uncle was able to escape with his life back then. For a small Yun family, there was no need to send out an expert of the heavenly spirit realm. But if these people knew of Yin Luofeng's strength, it will be different. Thus, for the past 6 months, Yin Luofeng had been hiding herself. However, she never expected that the heavenly spirit realm of the medical city would be working near Long Yuan country. Her luck was truly too bad. Little Feng, Xianxia slowly walked forward and gently held Yun Luofeng's hand. There was a trace of a smile in her handsome eyes. You are the hope of the Yun family. No matter what, nothing can happen to you. The man's tone was resolute, as if he was facing death with equanimity. Second uncle, Yin Luofeng frowned. We are a family. I will not let you face these enemies alone. So what if he was a heavenly spirit practitioner? Even if she had to die, she wouldn't let these people touch second uncle. Yin Xingya smiled and turned to look at the old man in the air. If I commit suicide here, can you let them go? A smile blossomed on the old man's wrinkled face, revealing a mouthful of black teeth. His wrinkled eyes narrowed into slits. If it was before, I would be willing. However, this little girl from the Yin family is far too dangerous. If I don't kill her, I'm afraid that the medical city will be destroyed because of her. Yin Xingyao's heart sank. I was the one who defeated the young city lord of the medical city back then. It has nothing to do with them. Heh. The old man laughed twice. His old laughter was like dry bark, dry and unpleasant to hear. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame her for being surnamed Yun. Who asked her to be your niece? Chapter 319. It is precisely because she is your niece. Therefore, all members of the Yin family must die. Yin Xingyao's heart sank bit by bit as she clenched her fists tightly. Suddenly, a hand landed on his fist, gently wrapping around his trembling fist. Second uncle, I won't let you suffer like you did 10 years ago. The young girl's black eyes were clear and bright, firm and confident. Then, her eyes slanted towards the old man in the air. This time, I was indeed careless. However, if you want to kill me, you must be prepared to be bitten by me. Little girl, being too arrogant is not a good thing. The old man's voice was old and hoarse, as if someone had used their fingernails to lightly scratch across the table, and it was very uncomfortable to hear. Second uncle, go to Grandpa's side. Yin Luofeng's expression gradually became serious. Yi Ling, you and the other members of the army protect them with your lives. We can't let my grandfather and second uncle suffer any harm. Facing the heavenly spirit realm, she didn't dare to underestimate him. After all, if she was the slightest bit careless when fighting against an expert of this level, she would die here. Therefore, she had to face this battle with all her might. Master, don't worry. Even if I die, I won't let the general and second master suffer any harm. Yi Ling's expression froze as she solemnly guaranteed. Little Yun, the old man said with a low laugh, it's useless for you to do this. After I kill you, not a single member of the Yun family will be able to escape. Is that so? Yin Luofeng stepped forward. I'm afraid that when the time comes, it won't be as you wish. She only needed to stall for time. Before Yun Xiao left, she had told him that he would definitely return to the Yun family the next day. As for her, she only needed to persevere until Yun Xiao returned home. I've already said it before, being too arrogant is not a good thing. In the air, the old man snorted. His body was like a burst of white smoke as he quickly floated in front of Yin Luofeng. His speed was very fast. It was so fast that no one could see his movements clearly. His soft hand had already arrived in front of Yin Luofeng. Bang! Yin Luofeng's expression became serious as she faced the old man's attack. Suddenly, she felt a powerful spiritual power pass through her palm and into her internal organs. The tips of Yin Luofeng's feet clung tightly to the ground, as if she had taken root there. She swallowed the blood that almost gushed out of her mouth, and her lips curled into a faint smile. The power of a celestial spirit practitioner is only SOSO. The old man didn't expect Yin Luofeng's physique to be so strong. He couldn't help but be startled. Little girl, I've really underestimated you. A girl like you can't continue to grow. Otherwise, My medical city will be destroyed by your hands sooner or later. This time, the old man didn't use his soft palm to attack Yin Luofeng. Instead, he clenched his fist and his aura surged out in all directions. Yin Luofeng's expression was solemn. His black eyes stared closely at the old man's movements. Then, the old man finally made his move again. Facing the old man's stern fist, Yin Luofeng's body moved to the side, narrowly dodging it. At the same time, the old man's fist came again from the side of his waist, right in front of him. Bang! The fist landed on Yin Luofeng's waist. Her body was quickly sent flying several meters away. Blood flowed from the corner of her mouth, and her beautiful face was as pale as a sheet. Xiaofeng, Yin Luo, and Xianxia turned pale with fright. Ignoring the army's obstruction, they quickly walked in front of Yin Luofeng. Chapter 320. Xiaofeng, how are you? Xianxia hurriedly helped Yin Luofeng up as her cold gaze swept towards the old man. The person you want to kill is me, and the person you want to deal with is also me. If you dare to touch my niece, I, Xianxia, will not let you off even if I become a ghost. The man stood upright in the breeze, his green robes fluttering in the wind. Between his brows, there was a look of determination as if he was facing death with equanimity. The old man stood in the air as the corners of his lips curled into a faint smile. Become a ghost? I'm afraid you won't even have the chance to become a ghost. Everyone in the Yin family must die, especially Yin Luofeng, this talented little girl. The people of the medical city really are a breeze. Suddenly, accompanied by a gentle breeze, an old voice floated in from the entrance of the Yin family home. It was indifferent and cold. The old man in the air frowned as he turned to look at the two people who had appeared at the door. It was an old man and a young man. The old man was dressed in a crescent moon-colored robe. There was a faint smile on his aged face. His gaze was indifferent and cold as he stared deeply at Yin Luofeng. Beside the old man, a beautiful girl of 17 or 18 years of age was supporting him. This young girl was extremely delicate, and her facial features were very beautiful. Her big, bright eyes darted around, and there was a dignified smile on her face the entire time. With a single glance, one could tell that this young girl was either rich or noble and was definitely not an ordinary person. Elder Ning accent. When Yin Luo saw the two of them appear, his heart was suddenly filled with joy. Although he still did not know who Elder Ning was, since he had appeared here, it proved that he could handle this matter. Elder Ning did not say anything. His indifferent eyes stared at the old man in the air as he said indifferently, Lu Yin, not only are you over 100 years old, you are also a heavenly spirit realm cultivator. Aren't you afraid of losing your reputation by bullying a junior like this? Lu Yin's eyes darkened slightly. Elder Ning, the matters of our medical city have nothing to do with your Ning family. Even if your Ning clan is powerful, you won't be able to resist a colossus like the Doctors Association. If you help the Yin clan, you'll be making an enemy out of our medical city. Making an enemy out of our medical city is also making an enemy out of the Doctors Association. In the face of Lu Yin's danger, Elder Ning smiled faintly. The Doctors Association will not interfere in this matter, and this old man just happens to owe the Yin family's lass a favor. If you want to touch someone from the Yin family, this old man will not allow it. Lu Yin's face darkened. If Elder Ning was here, he really wouldn't be able to make a move against the Yin family today. Just as the two old men were exchanging blows, Elder Rong, who had already received the news, hurried over. He wiped the sweat off his face and quickly walked in front of the two men. Lu Yin, not only is the little girl from the Yin family someone that Elder Ning wants to protect, she has also done a great favor for the medical pavilion. Not only does he not agree to you harming the Yin family, I don't agree either. Lu Yin stared coldly at the sweating Elder Rong as a cold light flashed across his old eyes. Even the medical pavilion wants to meddle in other people's business? Elder Rong laughed dryly. The medical pavilion and the medical city are both members of the Doctors Association. All the organizations that are affiliated to the Doctors Association have signed a contract to never harm one another. Hence, if the medical city hurts me, you will be expelled from the Doctors' Association. Lu Chen's heart gradually sank. He never thought that a tiny Yun family would attract Elder Ning and the medical pavilion. It seems that I have really underestimated this little girl, Yin Luofeng. Chapter 321. Could it be that you want me to just let it go? Luing frowned and asked coldly. Elder Rong pondered for a moment. Why don't we make a 3-year agreement? The Doctors' Association holds a meeting every 3 years. At that time, all the doctors will attend the meeting. Unfortunately, the little girl from the Yun family is also a doctor. At that time, all the grudges between you and the Yun family can be settled at this meeting. At this point, Elder Rong paused for a moment. If you insist on touching the Yun family now, then I can only fight you. And the rules of the Doctors' Association cannot be changed. Even if the young miss of the medical city is the disciple of an elder of the Doctors' Association, it will not change your fate of being expelled from the medical pavilion. Elder Lu Chun, the old man who had been sent flying by Yun Luofeng, hurriedly stood up and walked to Lu Chen's side, his expression full of anxiety. Let's go. In the end, Lu Chun still listened to Elder Rong's words. He lightly flung his sleeves, and before leaving, he turned to look at Yun Luofeng. Little girl, in 3 years, I will wait for you at the Doctors' Association. I hope you can come see me alive. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows. I'll give you this sentence. I hope you don't die too early. Hee. Lu Chan laughed hoarsely. I still have the same words. Don't be too arrogant. After saying that, he did not say anything else, and his old figure quickly disappeared in front of everyone. The rest of the people from the medical city also hurriedly left, quickly following Lu Chen's footsteps. Staring at the figures of these people leaving, Yun Luofeng's conviction to become stronger deepened once again. There was always someone stronger than her. Her strength was already considered the strongest in Long Yuan country, but the entire continent was so vast, and there were countless people stronger than her. Only by becoming strong enough could one not be bullied by others. Thank you for just now. Yun Luofeng withdrew his gaze from the departing crowd and looked towards Elder Ning and Elder Rong, sincerely thanking them. Elder Ning smiled faintly. I've been in the Long Yuan kingdom for the past few days, so the news that Xianxia is still alive has reached my ears. I was worried that the people from the medical city would come to cause trouble for the Yun family, so I rushed over. However, Elder Rong, you're so close to the Yun family, yet you're not as fast as me. Elder Rong smiled awkwardly. Looking at the old man's awkward expression, Elder Ning couldn't help but mock. Could it be that you went to pick up girls? That's why you're so slow? Suddenly, Elder Rong's entire face turned red. He coughed dryly and said, This doesn't count as picking up a girl. It doesn't count. I'm just having a heart-to-heart with an old friend. It's just a heart-to-heart. You're covered in the smell of rouge. Did you have a heart-to-heart talk on the bed? Poochie. Yin Luofeng could not help but laugh out loud. Soon after, when she saw the two old men looking at her, she slightly withdrew the corners of her mouth. I just didn't expect Elder Rong to be so vigorous despite his old age. Continue talking, continue. Elder Rong's face darkened, and his expression became even more awkward. He wished he could find a hole to hide in. Little Yun, don't you have other things to take care of? Elder Rong looked at Jing Lin, who was lying on the ground, and said angrily, Go and take care of him. Don't worry about us. Elder Ning, this old thing, actually said such words in front of little Yun. Where would he put his old face in the future? Especially since there were so many citizens of the Long Yuan nation here. He had lost all his face. Jing Lin, who was lying on the ground, froze when he heard Elder Rong turn the spearhead towards him. Chapter 322. General Yun, Miss Yun. Jing Lin's face was mournful. I had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai, and offended you too. Oh no, and the second master of the Yun family. I deserve to die. Please let me go. I promise to disappear completely from now on, and will never appear in front of you again. Regret now? Yin Luofeng's lips curved into a faint smile. Don't you think it's already too late? She took a step forward and slowly walked in front of Jing Lin. Even though the young girl's face was still full of smiles, that smile made Jing Lin feel a chill in his heart, and his entire body could not help but tremble. Miss Yin, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please spare my life. I won't dare to do it again. Jing Lin fiercely kowtowed, his face full of fear, and he no longer had the arrogant attitude he had at the beginning. 10 years ago, my grandfather also begged you like this. Yin Luofeng slightly raised her chin, looking down at Jing Lin, who was kneeling in front of her. And you? Do you still remember what you said? Jing Lin's body trembled, his entire body trembling, his eyes filled with fear. He wanted to continue begging for mercy, but his throat seemed to be choked by a hand, and he could not make sound. That year, you faced grandfather who was kneeling on the ground and begging you to save second uncle, and said that even if grandfather kowtowed to death in front of you, you would not save him. Jing Lin clenched his fists tightly. The scene of that year was still vivid in his mind, but now the roles had been reversed. The person who was kowtowing and begging was him. This was really an eye for an eye. Jing Lin, Yin Luofeng glanced sideways at him. Half a year ago, when grandfather returned from the border, you and the crown prince came to find him and forced him to break off the engagement, and even said that I would never be able to cultivate for the rest of my life. And I said at that time, with your strength, you cannot heal my body. Yin Luofeng squatted down, her fingers gently brushing across Jing Lin's neck, causing his body to shiver. Miss Yin, I beg you. Jing Lin's eyes were pleading, his throat was a little dry, and he managed to choke out these few words with great difficulty. His throat tightened, and a jade-like hand tightly gripped his neck. Immediately, a feeling of suffocation spread throughout his entire heart. Don't worry, I won't let you die. I will only send you to the backyard to accompany Gao Tu and his son. Jing Lin's eyes widened. Before he could utter a single word, Yin Luofeng's palm landed on his chest. In that instant, he heard the sound of his dantian shattering. Gao Tu trusted you so much, yet you ran away as soon as you saw that the situation was not good. I believe he really wants to see you now. Qing Yin, throw him into the backyard to accompany Gao Tu and his son. Yes, Mississippi. Qing Yin excitedly walked to Jing Lin's side and easily lifted his body. Then she tiptoed and jumped into the backyard. The backyard, the most remote courtyard, was filled with weeds. At this moment, in a corner of the courtyard, Gao Ling's body was curled up into a ball. He stared blankly at the commotion outside. He wanted to escape, but the Yun family was watching him too closely. Every time before he could make a move, he would be discovered by the Yun family, and he would be beaten up. Just at this moment, the sound of two little girls talking came from outside the door. Xiao Lu, our miss is really amazing. Just now, when a cultivator from a medicine city came knocking on our door, our miss actually sent him flying with one kick. She's so cool. I'm almost infatuated with our Mississippi. Chapter 323. Of course, Our Lady is a powerful cultivator at the Earth Spirit rank. Naturally, she's extremely powerful. I've decided that from now on, Our Lady will be my goddess. If anyone dares to say anything bad about Our Lady, I'll fight him to the death. Gao Ling didn't hear anything else. He only heard the words Earth Spirit and Jia. Yun Luofeng is an Earth Spirit? That's impossible. That's impossible. Her medical skills are already so powerful. It's impossible for her cultivation to be so powerful as well. Besides, everyone knows that Yun Luofeng is a good-for-nothing. All of you shut up. All of you shut up. Gao Tu roared angrily and charged in a courtyard. Unfortunately, before he could charge out, the guard at the door kicked him and sent him flying. He landed pathetically on the ground. Yin Luofeng can't be an Earth Spirit. She's a good-for-nothing. A good-for-nothing. Gao Ling's eyes gradually filled with madness as he screamed shrilly. Get Yin Luofeng over here. She's a good-for-nothing. The two servant girls who had been in a heated discussion heard Gao Ling's words, and their eyes filled with anger. They charged into the courtyard aggressively. How dare you insult Our Lady? Our Lady is a genius. It's just that she hides her abilities well. Why do you have to insult her? Compared to Our Lady, you're the real good for nothing. That's right. Our lady has always been very talented. She must have hidden her abilities for so long because she wanted to break off the engagement with you. If you knew about Our Lady's talents, wouldn't you follow her around every day? It's a good thing that Our Lady has hidden herself so that a selfish and treacherous person like you would be exposed to the light. Gao Ling's body slowly fell to the ground as his eyes filled with despair. He knew that these servant girls were right. If he had known that Yin Luo Feng had such talents, he would never have broken off the engagement with her. Humph! The servant girl kicked Gao Ling fiercely. Do you think that you're still the high and mighty crown prince? You're now just a plaything for Our Lady's hamster. Your status is even lower than ours. Gao Ling's body trembled as if he had heard the word hamster. The look in his eyes slowly turned from despair to fear. He had been tormented over the past few days. Whenever the hamster was bored, it would come over to play with him. But that kind of play could cost lives. Gao Tu had already been toyed with by him. Now that he was the only one left, how long could he be toyed with by the hamster? If Yin Luo Feng didn't hide his strength, perhaps he would have married her long ago. Perhaps he could even use her strength to tripling men. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. He could only live the rest of his life in regret. Just as Gao Ling was about to lose all hope, Qing Yin carried Jing Lin into the courtyard with her petite body and threw him to the ground. You've both performed well just now. Qing Yin clapped her hands and turned to look at the two servant girls beside her. I've heard everything that had been said. I'll mention the two of you to the young lady later. Even if you can't join the Steel Flame Corps, you'll still be promoted to be the Yun family's head servant girl. The two maids were overjoyed. Thank you, Miss Qing Yin. Qing Yin smiled. She took one last look at Jing Lin, who had been thrown onto the ground by her. Then she turned around and walked out of the courtyard. Jing Lin. Gao Ling stared at the old man who had been tossed on the ground by Qing Yin, and his expression changed drastically. You damned old thing. How dare you abandon us and run away that day? So what if you've run away? In the end, you've still come here to accompany us. Ha ha. Chapter 324. Gao Ling had completely lost his mind. His maniacal voice echoed throughout the entire Yun family home. Then he pounced towards Jing Lin like a madman and bit down on Jing Lin's flesh. With a loud ripping sound, he tore off a large piece of flesh. His mouth was filled with blood, and his expression was hideous. Jing Lin did not even have time to cry for help before he fainted from pain. Spiritual Gate. It arrived at the top of a tall mountain not far from Long Yuan country. The terrain of this mountain was treacherous and dangerous. Apart from the disciples of the Spiritual Gate, no one else would be able to cross it safely. However, at this moment, the man stopped in front of the Spiritual Gate. His mask reflected a cold light. His black eyes were cold, and his red lips were pursed into a straight line under the mask. Suddenly, the sound of hurried footsteps could be heard. The Spiritual Gate Master, Si Qiong, had led a group of people out to welcome the man. Perhaps he had run too fast. His forehead was covered in sweat. At one glance, he saw the cold man standing at the door and hurried over. Lord Ghost Emperor, why are you here? The man's cold eyes landed on Si Qiong. His voice was low and hoarse, but it was terrifying. Where is Si Xian? Si Qiong was stunned, his eyes filled with astonishment. This man had always been arrogant. When he had first arrived at the Spiritual Gate, his daughter had purposely walked up to him twice, but he had ignored her. Who would have thought that he would personally mention his daughter's name? Could it be that Si Qiong's luck had really taken a turn for the better, and he could curry favor with this man? Lord Ghost Emperor, please follow me. My daughter has just returned to the Spiritual Gate last night. I will send someone to summon her. Si Qiong was overjoyed. If he could marry Si Xian to the Ghost Emperor, his status in the mainland would be even higher. The man walked into the Spiritual Gate silently. His black robes fluttered in the breeze, giving off a cold aura. The atmosphere in the study room of the Spiritual Gate was tense. Si Qiong glanced at the cold man sitting on the chair from time to time, his forehead breaking out in a cold sweat. Ever since the Ghost Emperor had followed him into the Spiritual Gate, he had not spoken a single word. No matter how much Si Qiong tried to flatter him, The Ghost Emperor did not even look at him. If the Ghost Emperor had really taken a liking to Xian, shouldn't he have asked for more information about her? Instead of being so silent. Just as he was hesitating, the door of the study was pushed open. Xian gently pursed her thin lips and walked into the study anxiously. Father. Xian cautiously glanced at Xiao as her heart grew more and more flustered. She didn't think that Xiao had come here because he had taken a liking to her. This man must have come to vent his anger on Luo. If she had known that he would come looking for her, she would not have returned to the Spirit Gate so quickly. However, didn't the people she had left behind in Long Yuan country say that they didn't see Xiao returning to the Yun family? That Lin family didn't even return, so how would they know what he had done? Thinking of this, Xian gradually calmed down her flustered heart. She plucked up her courage and looked up at the cold man sitting in front of her. Abruptly, the man stood up from his chair and slowly walked down the stairs with grim steps. His hoarse voice was filled with a seductive power as it slowly rang in Xian's ears. I heard that you admire me. Xian stared at the cold man in front of her and bit her red lips. That's right, Xiao, I do like you. Only the heavens knew how much courage it took for her to say those words. After she had said them, she felt her body in a mess, and she almost collapsed to the ground. So, Xiao paused. You were the one behind the Yun family's incident? Chapter 3:25. Xian's expression changed, and she stumbled back in shock. Her face turned pale, and her delicate body trembled as she broke out in a cold sweat. He knew. This man really did know. After he found out about this, he didn't even return to the Yun family and had come straight to the spirit sect to settle the score. Xian had a bad feeling about this. What on earth happened? This girl, I've already warned her not to provoke the Ghost Emperor. I never thought that she would still end up provoking him in the end. Xian's lips trembled. I didn't do it on purpose. I just wanted him too much. Gao Shaochen was instigated by you, and those high spiritualists were also sent by you. Xiao seemed to be mumbling to himself, but his cold eyes were fixed on Xian. You've committed such a grave mistake. The spirit sect can no longer protect you. Xian took a few steps back, her body pressed tightly against the wall. I didn't hurt Luo. I just wanted her to marry Gao Shaochen. Moreover, isn't she there perfectly fine? Slap. A slap landed fiercely on her face. Xiong's face was ashen as he bellowed angrily. Shut up. Who allowed you to speak to the Ghost Emperor like that? After lecturing Xiong quickly turned towards Xiao. He wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said timidly, Lord Ghost Emperor, Xian has already acknowledged her mistake. Furthermore, she hasn't done anything irredeemable. Please, Lord Ghost Emperor. The man's cold eyes slowly swept towards Xiong. Just this one glance caused Xiong's breathing to stagnate. The fear of death lingered in his heart. He could guarantee that if he dared to speak up for Xian, the person who would die would not be Xian, but him. Xiong hardened his heart and said, Lord Ghost Emperor, Xian has offended you, so I'll hand her over to you to deal with. Even though Xian was his most beloved daughter, no matter how much he liked her, he was not willing to implicate the entire spirit sect for her. The Ghost Emperor was far too powerful, so powerful that he could not resist. Hence, for the sake of the spirit sect, he could only give her up. Father. Xian cried out in disbelief. Her beautiful eyes were filled with deep despair. You're giving up on me? Xiong glanced at Xian coldly. You made a mistake, so bear it yourself. I won't let you drag the spirit sect down. What he meant was that no matter how Xiao wanted to deal with her, he would not care. Xian's body collapsed on the ground. Her beautiful face was deathly pale. She had never imagined that she would lose her life here because of her jealousy. However, Xian's desire to live still made her stand up from the ground. She scrambled over to Xiao and kowtowed fiercely. Please let me go. As long as you let me go, I promise I won't dare to have any thoughts about you. I'm more willing to use my body to serve Miss Yun. Xiao coldly glanced at her. Your strength is too weak. The meaning of his words was very clear. Your strength is too weak, and you don't have the qualifications to serve her. No. Xian felt the murderous intent from the man's body and screamed. She then raised her hand to grab Yun Zhao's leg. With a bang, the aura from Yun Zhao's body surged out, causing her trousers to fly open. As this aura was far too powerful, even Xian's arms were shaken to the point where countless wounds split open. Fresh blood flowed out, dyeing her entire arm red. Chapter 326. My entire body belongs to her. Aside from her, no one else has the right to touch me. Even if she had only touched his trousers, Xian's body stiffened as the pain in her heart overshadowed the pain in her arm. Her eyes stared heartbroken at the cold man in front of her. Her heart was slowly being consumed by jealousy. Yin Luofeng, why is that woman so lucky to be able to receive the wholehearted love of such a perfect, cold man? Yet she was unable to get even a sliver of it. Qin Yuan. Yin Xiao retracted his grim gaze and bellowed coldly. Take Xiqiong away after you've dealt with her. He had only been gone for a day, but who would have thought that these people would be so restless? They had actually taken advantage of his absence to have delusional designs on her. He would never allow anyone to harm her. No! Xian shrieked in terror. Father, save me. I don't want to die. Please save me. Xiqiong's body trembled when he heard his daughter's pleas. In the end, he steeled his heart and turned away, no longer looking at her. Stop howling. It's useless even if you scream yourself hoarse. Qin Yuan sneered. However, Xian, I really can't help but admire your courage. You even dare to have designs on my mistress? Did your father not teach you not to provoke my master? Qin Yuan no longer looked at her after he had spoken. In his heart, Xian was already a dead person. Xiqiong, on the other hand, was so heartless that he would not even save his own daughter. This was truly an eye-opener for him. Eat this. Qin Yuan produced a black pill from his robes and handed it to Xiqiong. What is this? Xiqiong was shaken and his eyes filled with vigilance. Of course it's poison. Do you think that I would give you a tonic? Qin Yuan rolled his eyes and laughed disdainfully. Hurry up and take the poison so that we can be on our way. The word on their way could easily cause one's thoughts to go astray. Xiqiong was clearly the kind of person who would easily think in the wrong direction. Lord Ghost Emperor has only asked you to take me away, not to kill me. Besides, I've already handed Xian over. Why do you still want to kill me? Qin Yuan said coldly. Who said I'm going to kill you? It's just that a heartless person like you can't be trusted. Therefore, you have to take this poison. Only then can we control you and prevent you from biting us in the future. But Lord Ghost Emperor didn't tell you to do that. Xiqiong took a few steps back, clearly not wanting to take this black pill. If everything has to be said by the master, then what's the point of having subordinates like us? Hurry up and take the poison so that you can go with me. Otherwise, you and your daughter will go to hell together. Qin Yuan frowned impatiently as his expression turned cold. Xiqiong hesitated for a moment, but in the end, he still decided to listen to Qin Yuan's orders. He extended his trembling hand and took the black pill. He closed his eyes and swallowed it. Qin Yuan sneered as he watched Xiqiong swallow the poison. Are you going to stay and dig a grave for your daughter? Or are you going to leave with me immediately? Xiqiong shook his head. Just throw her into the mass grave. Her mistake had nearly dragged the spirit sect down with her. She has no right to enter the ancestral shrine. Xian's body trembled violently. Her pale face was filled with fear. She could not believe that her father, who had once doted on her, could be so heartless. Not only did he leave her in the lurch, he did not even allow her to collect her corpse. Chapter 327. Father, even a vicious tiger will not eat its own cubs. You will receive retribution for your cruelty. Xian cried out in a shrill voice. Her beautiful hair was in a disheveled mess as she glared at Xiqiong like a madwoman. You unfilial daughter, you've offended the Ghost Emperor, yet you still dare to speak such treacherous words. Xiqiong slapped Xian's body and sent it flying out of the way. He then kicked her in the waist. Who gave you the right to offend the Ghost Emperor? If you had not offended the Ghost Emperor, I would not have been forced to be fed poison. You've harmed me, and yet you dare to teach me a lesson? Retribution? If there's retribution, it should be on a rebellious, unfilial daughter like you first. His foot landed on Xianxia's body again and again. Xianxia spat out a mouthful of blood from his kick, and her face was ashen. Her ribs were broken, and she was in so much pain that she could not speak. Qin Yuan crossed his arms and watched the show unfold before him. He seemed to be tired of watching and even pulled a stool over to sit down. His eyes were filled with exuberance. Sir Qin Yuan, this unfilial daughter is far too rebellious. I won't let you do it. I'll deal with her myself. Xiqiang instantly drew his long sword and stabbed Xian right in front of her heartbroken eyes. Blood spurted from his chest and dyed his face red. His expression was cold and solemn, and his face was devoid of emotion. It was as if he had not killed his daughter, but a stranger. Xiqiang. Qin Yuan slowly rose from his stool. You're a selfish person who doesn't even recognize your own family. It's no wonder that my master has refused to accept your spiritual door. It's a good thing that I had already taken precautions and fed you poison. Otherwise, knowing your character, you would bite back at your master sooner or later. Oh, that's right. My master is not your master. You're not even his dog. Xiqiang did not become angry in the face of Qin Yuan's mockery. Instead, a flattering smile appeared on her face as she said, Young Master Qin Yuan, you're right. I'm not even a dog. May I ask where Lord Ghost Emperor wants me to go? Qin Yuan sneered. Of course we're going to the Yun family. Your daughter has made such a big mistake. As a father, you must go and apologize to my mistress. If my mistress doesn't forgive you, you can go and accompany your daughter. Xiqiang shivered involuntarily and cursed Xian 1,000 times in her heart. If it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have suffered such a punishment. Young Master Qin Yuan, please lead the way. I'll apologize to her right now. As long as she's appeased, I'm willing to let her hit me as she pleases. A mocking smile appeared on Qin Yuan's face as he looked at Xiqiang, who was acting like a lackey. He turned around and walked out of the study. Hurry up and catch up. If you're late, Master will kill you before Mistress can forgive you. Upon hearing this, Xiqiang hurriedly followed behind Qin Yuan with large strides, General Yun's residence. In the backyard where clear spring water flowed, the girl sat by a tree and played chess by herself. After a long time, she sighed softly, and her pitch-black eyes revealed a faint emotion. My lady, are you thinking about Yin Xiao? Qing Yin covered her lips and giggled. Her large, bright eyes stared unblinkingly at Yin Luofeng as she asked. Yin Luofeng's hand, which was tightly gripping the flag, trembled. He smiled calmly and replied, I'm worried that Yin Xiao has run into some sort of problem. He said that he would only be gone for a day, but he still hasn't returned. I can't help but worry about him. After all, Yin Zhao's cultivation method was rather unique. If he were to have a breakthrough in his heavenly spirit method in the middle of a battle, he would fall into a state of madness. This would be extremely disadvantageous to him. Chapter 3:28. This was also what she was worried about. Oh, that's right. Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows slightly, and his gaze turned to Yiling. The chef in your mansion last time was pretty good. I wanted to ask you for him, but I was too busy and forgot about it. Ever since I tasted that chef's cooking, even the food of the Yun family has changed. In a few days, send that chef to the Yun family. Yiling's eyes showed a hint of confusion. The chef of the third prince's residence was better than the Yun family's? Why didn't he know? The chef of the Yun family was even better than the chefs of the royal family. How could the people of the third prince's residence compare? Miss, Qing Yin glanced at Yun Luofeng carefully. The soup I served you that day was not made by the chef of the third prince's residence. Yin Luofeng raised an eyebrow slightly. Then who made the soup? It was... Qing Yin bit her lip and said, It was Yun Xiao. Yun Xiao? Yin Luofeng was stunned, and a hint of surprise flashed through his eyes. He clearly did not think that Yun Xiao would have such excellent cooking skills. Just as she fell silent, a familiar scent came from behind her. It carried the unique scent of a man and spread through the air. You knew. The man's voice was low and hoarse as it slowly rang in her ears. Yun Luofeng turned to look at Yun Xiao, who had appeared in front of him. There was a smile in his dark eyes. Yun Xiao, you're back? Yes. Yun Xiao looked at Yun Luofeng. At that time, I saw that you were not used to the food of the flowing gold country, so Yun Luofeng interrupted the man. Why didn't you tell me earlier that you knew how to cook? Yun Xiao looked deeply at Yun Luofeng. You don't like me doing these things. I was afraid that you would be angry if I did. Why would I be angry? Yun Luofeng frowned and asked in confusion. Yun Xiao was silent for a moment. That day, when I poured water for you, you said that it was Qing Yan's job. I thought that you didn't like me doing these things. Yun Xiao, your cooking skills are not bad. Where did you learn them? Yun Luofeng curled her lips. This time, she had really picked up a treasure. This man was not only good-looking, but also powerful and devoted to her. Now, he had to add another condition. He had to be able to enter the main hall and the kitchen. It seemed like there was nothing he couldn't do. All these years, I've been taking care of my own life. As for cooking, I learned it on my own in the forest of no return. Yun Zhao's gaze was serious and focused, his pair of black eyes filled with the young girl's peerless figure. If you like, I can cook for you every day. Yun Luofeng's voice was very domineering. From now on, you can only wash hands and cook soup for me alone. Where's General Yun? Don't give it to him. Yun Luofeng said without hesitation, not giving any leeway at all. If Grandpa Xing knew what she had said, he would definitely be infuriated. All right. The corners of Yun Zhao's lips curled up slightly. I'll only cook for you. His smile bloomed only for her alone. His cooking skills would only be displayed for her alone. I already know about the recent happenings in Long Yuan country. Yun Zhao's lips curled into a faint smile for a split second before it disappeared, as if it had never appeared at all. However, I've already settled it for you. Xianxia is dead, and I brought her father to you. Chapter 329. Yun Luofeng was stunned. She did not expect that Yun Xiao had returned so late because she had gone to the spiritual gate because of her. This man would always do everything for her without her noticing. A warm feeling welled up in Yun Luofeng's heart at the thought of this. She slowly shifted her gaze away from Yun Xiao and looked at the middle-aged man who was striding in behind Qin Yuan. The middle-aged man saw the peerlessly beautiful young lady in front of Yun Xiao at first glance, and a deep sense of amazement flashed across his eyes. No wonder the Ghost Emperor was so angry because of this woman. No man would not be moved by such a beautiful young lady. Lord Ghost Emperor. Xiqiong quickly stepped forward and bowed deeply at Yun Xiao. Then, he turned to look at Yun Luofeng. Miss Yun, what happened previously was my daughter's fault. I've already punished her, so please forgive the spiritual gate. There was a flattering smile on his face, and he no longer had the awe-inspiring air of a dignified leader of the spiritual gate. Yun Luofeng gently raised his brows. Xixian's position in the spiritual gate is rather high. Otherwise, she would not have been able to mobilize so many high spiritualists. Xiqiong looked a little awkward, but his voice was anxious as he was afraid that Yun Luofeng would misunderstand him. Miss Yun, Xixian has gained the favor of the elders in the spiritual gate, which is why they listen to his orders. I can swear that I have nothing to do with this. Is that so? The young lady's eyes were filled with a smile. Her black eyes seemed to be able to see through everything as she stared straight at Xiqiong. Xiqiong felt a little guilty. He was very clear that his daughter had mobilized the spiritual gate's forces, but he did not know that this was related to the Ghost Emperor. Out of trust for his daughter, he had handed the power of the spiritual gate to her. Otherwise, based on Xixian's abilities, she would not have had the right to mobilize the spiritual gate's powerhouses. Of course, he could not tell Yun Luofeng about this. Miss Yun, I swear to the heavens that I had no idea about this at all. Please believe me. Moreover, I, Xiqiong, am willing to do anything for you and be loyal to you for the rest of my life. Xiqiong's expression was no longer as flattering as before. Instead, it was exceptionally serious, causing people to involuntarily believe her words. However, Yun Luofeng didn't believe that Xiqiong didn't know anything about Xixian. If he really didn't know anything, then he would be too useless as the spiritual sect master. He can use it. Xianxia glanced at Xiqiong before her black eyes turned towards Yun Luofeng. She then said seriously, I asked Qin Yuan to feed him poison. With the control of this poison, he will not be able to betray you. Yun Luofeng nodded. The Yin family is lacking an errand boy. Since he's willing to work like an ox or horse, then he'll stay in a Yin family and do odd jobs. Thank you for your mercy, Miss Yin. As the saying goes, a bad life is better than a good death. As long as he could survive, let alone doing odd jobs, even if he was asked to be a slave, he would be willing. The spirit sect is the backer of the Long Yuan nation. How do you want to deal with the royal family? Yin Luofeng lazily leaned against a tree branch and asked with a smile that was not a smile. Xiqiong respectfully replied, I'll leave it to Miss Yin to decide. Yin Luofeng gently stroked his chin. The seventh prince of the Long Yuan nation is not bad. Even though he's still young, his mind is mature enough. He's also the only one who has chosen to protect himself during this chaotic period of time. The seventh prince of the Long Yuan nation's mother had died young, and he did not have a deep relationship with Gao Tuesday. He was a dispensable existence. Chapter 330. However, he had an extremely powerful talent at a young age. However, due to his lowly background, Gao Tu had never looked him in the eye. Since Miss Yin has spoken, then the seventh prince will be the emperor of the Long Yuan kingdom. Xiqiong smiled flatteringly. Miss Yin, do you have any other instructions? Go with Qin Yin. She will tell you what to do, Yin Luofeng said after pondering for a long time. Yes. Xiqiong cupped his fists, his face full of respect. Looking at the figure leaving with Qin Yin, Yin Luofeng was silent. After a long time, she stared at the man in front of her and asked, The spirit sect is the power behind the Long Yuan kingdom, and the Bai family is the power behind the Lu Jin kingdom. I wonder if the Bai family and the spirit sect have the same strength? The Bai family and the spirit sect are different. Even 100 spirit sects can't compare with the Bai family. Why? Suddenly, a handsome and bewitching face appeared in Yun Luofeng's mind, and her heart gradually sank. The Bai family has Bai Su. Yin Xiao frowned, his cold eyes containing an unprecedented solemnity. Without Bai Su, the Bai family and the spirit sect won't have a big difference in strength. Bai Su. Yin Luofeng's eyes slightly narrowed. He seems to be related to my parents' death, but I don't know where he came from. Originally, she thought that the Bai family and the spirit sect wouldn't have a big difference in strength, but she didn't expect that she thought too simply. It was easy to deal with the spirit sect, but it wouldn't be so easy to deal with the Bai family. Next time, if you meet Bai Su again and I'm not by your side, don't fight with him. The man's cold eyes revealed a touch of imperceptible concern, and his expressionless face also carried a slight trace of nervousness. That man was too dangerous. If Yin Luofeng fought with him alone, she would definitely be at a disadvantage. I understand. Yin Luofeng slowly raised her head and met the man's cold eyes. I won't fight with him alone. Yin Xiao gazed deeply at Yin Luofeng. I'll let Xiqiong come to your side because his strength is not bad. When I'm not here, he can temporarily protect you. When you don't need him, he can be at your disposal. Yin Xiao. Yin Luofeng raised her arms, took 2 steps forward, and tightly hugged the man's body. Thank you. The girl's soft murmur caused Yin Xiao's body to slightly stiffen. He raised his hand and tightly rubbed her body. As she lowered her eyes, the corners of her bewitching red lips curled into an extremely shallow arc. I told you. I will protect you. Since he had chosen to protect her, he would not let her get hurt. Whether it was the Bai family or others, cough, cough. Suddenly, a dry cough sounded from the side. Yin Luofeng hurriedly left Yin Zhao's arms and glanced at the old man who stepped into the courtyard. Grandpa, you seem to be in the mood for leisure. You actually came here to disturb your granddaughter's training of a man? She raised her eyebrows slightly and looked at the old man's awkward face with a faint smile. Stinky girl, I just returned to the Yin family and heard that you've hired a new handyman. The old man was not ashamed of his actions at all. He said in a bad mood, Our Yin family already has enough people. Do you know how much money it costs to raise so many people? You really don't know the cost of firewood. Do you think I just picked up money from the ground? It seems that I earned all the money in the Yun family. Yin Luofeng shrugged and replied. Yin Luofeng glared at Yin Luofeng. What do you mean you earned it? What's yours is mine. All the money belongs to me. By the way, how much did you pay the handyman? Free. Yin Luofeng gently rubbed her nose. Oh, by the way, this handyman is the master of the spirit sect. Chapter 331. Initially, when he heard the word free, the old man heaved a sigh of relief. However, Yin Luofeng's next words caused him to freeze in place. What did you just say? The old man stared blankly at Yin Luofeng. At this moment, he suspected that there was something wrong with his ears. Did she just say that the errand boy was the sect master of the spirit sect? Wasn't that the spirit sect that he was familiar with? Yin Luofeng looked at the old man's astonished expression and shrugged his shoulders. It's exactly what you think. The young girl's disapproving voice struck the old man's heart like a heavy stick, knocking him into a daze. The old man hesitated for a moment before saying, the sect master of the spirit sect came to the Yun family to do odd jobs. It wouldn't be right not to pay him. How about this? I'm not a stingy person. I still have to pay him what he should be paid. Housekeeper, record down the accounts and give a new errand boy a copper a month. The old man's expression was deadly earnest, causing the housekeeper, who was quietly waiting at the side, to grumble. A copper? Was he trying to dismiss a beggar? To think that the great general would say something like this. I don't think that's necessary. Yin Luofeng raised the corners of his lips and looked at the old man's pained expression. He smiled evilly and said, even if you ask him to pay for it, he'd still be willing. If you give him a salary, he'll feel uneasy instead. The old man nodded in agreement. Since that's the case, I'll keep this copper. I can at least buy a spring onion. All right, you two have fun. I won't disturb you any longer. Housekeeper, hurry and support this general. My legs are a little weak. Yes, great general. The housekeeper stepped forward and supported the old man as they slowly walked out of the courtyard. At this moment, the old man was clearly still in a state of shock. Hence, his legs were a little weak, and if it wasn't for the housekeeper supporting him, he might have collapsed at any moment. Don't be fooled by his serious expression just now. He had long been frightened by Yun Luofeng's words. No one would have thought that the dignified sect master of the spirit sect would actually come to the Yun family to do odd jobs. Xianxia. Yin Luofeng watched as Master Dongfang's figure disappeared before his dark eyes slowly swept towards Xianxia. You still haven't told me where you've been these past 2 days? Xianxia paused and said, I just received news that the Shao family has arrived in Long Yuan Nation. So, I want to investigate this matter. Don't worry, I won't let these people disturb you. If the Shao family disturbed her, he did not mind destroying the entire Shao family. Xianxia. Yin Luofeng raised an eyebrow as a cold light flashed across his eyes. Since the Shao family has found their way here, why don't we find a suitable time to meet them? I also want to know why they are looking for you. Xianxia gently pursed his thin lips, his dark eyes staring deeply at Yin Luofeng. If you want to see them, I'm willing to accompany you. If you don't like them, then I'll destroy them. Yin Luofeng shook his head. Xianxia, do you want to see your mother? Mother? These 2 words were already very foreign to Xianxia. However, his mother was also the only person in the Shao family who cared about him. Unfortunately, his mother had no position in the Shao family and was unable to protect him when he was young. She's not in the Shao family. Yunxiao's eyes were as cold as water. Ever since I was chased out of the Shao family, she disappeared as well. No one knows where she went. Ever since he had left the forest of no return, it wasn't that he hadn't secretly gone back to look for her. However, the news he heard was that she had already disappeared a few years ago, and even the Shao family did not know where she was. Chapter 332. Yin Luofeng was silent for a moment, his black eyes flashing with an unknown light. Your mother disappeared after you left the Shao family. Only by going to the Shao family can we find out where she is. Most importantly, I want those who have hurt you to pay a painful price. The young girl's determined voice warmed Yin Zhao's heart. The corners of his cold lips curled up into a shallow arc. All right. Yin Luofeng did not say anything more as her lowered eyes flashed with a murderous glint. Now, every time she thought of the torture that Yun Xiao had suffered, she could not help but want to tear the person who had hurt him into 10,000 pieces, especially the woman who had thrown him into the forest of no return. Yin Xiao, will the people from the Xiao family arrive? Yin Luofeng laughed coldly. When they arrive, I will entertain them well. Probably in the next few days. Yin Xiao's eyes were deep and cold. Furthermore, the Xiao family's influence is vast, so they already know that I'm in the imperial city of Long Yuan country. They just don't know that I'm in the general's mansion. Yin Luofeng was stunned and asked, "You left the Xiao family when you were 7. How did they know that you were here?" When a man heard this, his cold aura suddenly erupted. His black robes fluttered in the wind, like a wild beast in the night, ready to tear his enemies to pieces at any time. The Xiao family can find me through my bloodline. For a large family like the Xiao family, the depth of one's bloodline was very important. Furthermore, they could determine the location of the person they were looking for. However, using their bloodline to find a person, they could only find the general direction and not the exact location. That was why the Xiao family had taken so long to find Long Yuan country. Yin Xiao, leave this matter to me. Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a sinister smile. I will make them regret ever coming to Long Yuan country. All right. Yin Xiao did not have much feelings for the Xiao family. Since Yin Luofeng wanted to play with them, why not indulge him? Once she was done playing, he would come out and clean up the mess for her. Yin Luofeng raised his eyes slightly and looked at the coal man standing in front of him. Yin Xiao, do you hate the Xiao family? Hate? Yin Xiao frowned slightly as a cold glint flashed across her eyes. More than 10 years ago, he was chased out of the Xiao family and thrown into the forest of no return. He indeed hated those people, because at that time, he still cared about the Xiao clan. Because of this, he hated the Xiao family for being heartless and hated that woman for taking away his mother's position. However, he no longer had any feelings for the Xiao clan. He was glad that he had left the Xiao family more than 10 years ago. Otherwise, he wouldn't have achieved what he had today. As for his mother, leaving the Xiao family might be a relief for her. I don't. Yin Zhao's eyes were filled with seriousness. If I had not left the Xiao family back then, I would not have the power I have now, nor would I have the power to protect you. Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a small smile. He slowly stepped forward and hugged the man in front of him tightly. He lowered his eyes and said, I hate the Xiao family. I hate everyone who has hurt you, so I won't let them get away with it. Chapter 333. Yin Xiao remained silent as his dark eyes stared at the young girl in his arms. He does not hate the Xiao family, but that does not mean he will let the Xiao family off. It was just that in his eyes, the Xiao clan was just a dispensable existence. Master! Just then, Qin Yuan's voice rang out. He then leaped over the wall and knelt in front of Yin Xiao. Reporting to Master, the Xiao family has entered the imperial city. Hearing this, Yin Luofeng's expression sank. The smile on his lips was demonic and eerie as he replied in a cold voice. The Xiao family? I never thought that they would arrive so soon. Yiling passed down the order. All the inns in the imperial city are not allowed to accept anyone from the Xiao family. Anyone who disobeys will be expelled from Long Yuan country. Yes. Yiling joined her fists and replied respectfully. Yin Xiao looked at the arrogant and domineering young girl in front of him. The corners of his grim lips twitched. The Xiao family is very powerful. I'll ask Qin Yuan to protect you. No need. Yin Luofeng curled the corners of his lips. I know what I'm doing. Up to you then. As long as she was happy, no matter what she did, he would support her unconditionally. Qin Yuan opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something. However, when he saw Yin Zhao's grim glare, he immediately shut his mouth. Qin Yin, let's go. Yin Luofeng stretched lazily and narrowed his eyes as a dangerous light flashed in them. I'm going to recuperate and build up my strength so that I can deal with the Xiao family. The brilliant rays of the sun shone into every corner of the courtyard. After Yin Luofeng had spoken, he led Qing Yin towards the direction of the rear courtyard. Once the young girl's figure had completely disappeared, Qin Yuan turned to face Xianxia and asked hesitantly, "Master, why didn't you tell Mistress that the Xiao family has that thing in their hands?" If the Xiao family were to fly into a rage out of humiliation, Master's life would be in danger. Yun Zhao's gaze was fixed on the direction in which Yin Luofeng had left. His gently pursed lips formed a cold and hard angle. His handsome face was expressionless, as if he had facial paralysis. The Xiao family cannot threaten me. What he meant was that no matter what Yin Luofeng did, he would not stop him. He would only silently support her from behind. Is there any news of her? Yin Xiao asked coldly with her back facing Qin Yuan. The she he spoke of was naturally his mother, who had also disappeared after he left. Upon hearing this, Qin Yuan carefully replied, "Master, our men have searched many places, but we still haven't found Madam's whereabouts, yes." Yin Zhao's voice was low and hoarse, revealing a hint of coldness, causing Qin Yuan's heart to involuntarily rise as cold sweat broke out on his forehead. "Master, it's your subordinate's fault. Master, please punish me." He hurriedly knelt on the ground and asked in fear, "You will stay by Fenger's side from now on." Yin Zhao's grim eyes swept across Qin Yuan's body. "If she suffers even the slightest injury, bring your head to me." He did not dare to imagine what would have been waiting for Yin Luofeng if the Ning family had not rushed over 2 days ago. And he would never allow such a thing to happen again. If something really happened to Yin Luofeng, he couldn't guarantee that he would do something crazy. "Yes, master." Qin Yuan wiped the sweat off his forehead and said respectfully, on a bustling street, a young man and woman were leading a group of people into an inn. Not long after, the sounds of an argument could be heard from within the inn. Chapter 334. What right do you have to stop us from staying? Inside the inn, the young girl stood with her hands on her hips, glaring angrily at the inn owner in front of her. "I'm sorry, dear customers, but our shop is full and we really can't accommodate the two of you. Why don't the two of you stay in the stable?" The young girl was so angry that her face turned red. This damned inn owner. How dare he let someone as noble as her stay in the stable? Someone as noble as her had to stay in the most luxurious room. No other place was worthy of her status. "Nonsense. I saw someone checking in just now. Why can't we stay?" The innkeeper laughed twice and politely refused. "That person just now happened to be in the last room. You two came late, so I can only let you make do with it. Why don't you find another inn?" The young girl narrowed her eyes, a strong killing intent flashing in her eyes. She was about to make a move, but was stopped by the man beside her. "Forget it." The man shook his head. "Yao, let's look for another inn. This isn't the only inn in Long Yuan country." But Ling Yao was still unwilling to give up. She stomped her foot angrily. "These secular people really don't know any better. For someone as noble as me to come here, they should immediately clear everyone out and let's choose the best room. I didn't think that he would chase us away." In her entire life, Ling Yao had never been so humiliated in the spirit realm as the little princess of the Ling family, who wouldn't give in to her. Who would have thought that in this secular world, these people would not give her face? How could she tolerate this? Forget it. Xiao Jing tugged on Ling Yao's sleeve and shook his head. "Don't forget, we're here on a mission. It's better not to cause trouble. Besides, this is not the only inn here. We can find another inn to stay in." After saying this, Xiao Jing pulled the still angry Ling Yao out. However, what they did not expect was that all the inns in the imperial city were full. There was not a single one that could accommodate them. Ling Yao was completely enraged. She gritted her teeth. What kind of broken place is this? If not for the fact that the Xiao family is looking for that trash, I would definitely not come to such a broken place. Ling Yao, who was used to enjoying preferential treatment in the family, had never encountered such a thing. It was no wonder that she was so furious. "Yaoer," Xiao Jing's calm face revealed a pensive look. "This is too much of a coincidence. There isn't anything important happening in Long Yuan country, so why are all the inns full? I suspect that someone is behind all of this. Ling Yao snorted. Her pretty face was filled with disdain. Who would be so bold as to make an enemy out of Spirit Realm? That trash from your Shao clan? How could that trash have such great strength? Furthermore, our trip to Long Yuan Nation has been kept a secret. That trash would never know about it. When talking about Yin Xiao, Ling Yao's face was full of disdain. Although 10 years ago, that trash already had a perfect face. But trash was trash. Normally, she wouldn't even spare a glance at a piece of trash who couldn't cultivate and had no strength. What she worshipped were men who were not only handsome, but also powerful. Only men like that could match up to her noble status. Chapter 335. Ling Yao. This time, apart from finding that good-for-nothing, we're also here to break off the engagement with him. Xiao Jing frowned slightly and ordered in a low voice. Hearing this, Ling Yao couldn't help but get angry. I really don't know what my grandfather was doing. He actually made me marry that good-for-nothing. Moreover, I didn't know about it all these years. If it wasn't for the fact that Xiao Yuqing had returned this time and wanted me to marry him, he wouldn't have told me about this. Families like the Ling and Xiao families were very particular about their agreements. If she wanted to marry Xiao Yuqing, she would have to break off the engagement. Hence, when she heard that the Xiao family was looking for that good-for-nothing, she volunteered to follow them. That good-for-nothing probably doesn't know about this either. Xiao Jing's brows furrowed, even tighter. It doesn't matter if he agrees or not. You must break off the engagement. Back then, because Yin Zhao's parents were 1 in a million geniuses, the Ling family's master had suggested for the two of them to be engaged at a young age. However, this matter was only known to the elders of the two families. Who would have thought that Yin Xiao was actually a good-for-nothing? Hence, this matter had been delayed. If the Ling family hadn't planned on using Ling Yao to form a marriage alliance with Xiao Yuqing, they wouldn't have revealed this matter. It's best if he doesn't know about it, Ling Yao scoffed. If he knew that we were engaged at a young age, he would definitely pester me. Otherwise, which woman would want to marry a good-for-nothing like him? That's not necessarily true. He's had outstanding looks since he was young. With his looks, it shouldn't be a problem for him to become a live-in son-in-law. Xiao Jing recalled that face in his mind. The corners of his lips curled into a slight smile. His eyes were filled with disdain. Ling Yao curled her lips mockingly. A woman who can fancy that good-for-nothing probably isn't a good person. If she's not a good-for-nothing like him, then she's a lecher. How good can a lecher like him be? What she meant was that Yin Xiao couldn't possibly find a woman better than her. Unfortunately, that kind of good-for-nothing wasn't good enough for her. All right, let's not talk about that good-for-nothing for now. The most important thing now is to solve the problem of our accommodation. Only after we've settled down can we search for that good-for-nothing's whereabouts. Xiao Jing looked at Ling Yao and said slowly, "But the inns here are all full. Where are we going to find a place to stay?" Ling Yao pouted, her face full of unwillingness. Xiao Jing pondered for a moment, and a light flashed in his eyes. He quickly walked to the front of the house and knocked on the door 3 times. Creak! The door was pushed open, and a middle-aged man walked out angrily. He asked angrily, "Who are you? What are you here for?" "I want to buy your house." Xiao Jing smiled faintly. "Go away." The middle-aged man waved his hand impatiently. "I'm not selling this house. Don't come here and make trouble." 10 million. Xiao Jing's lips still had a calm and confident smile. Sure enough, hearing his words, the middle-aged man's eyes lit up, and he swallowed hard. "Are you really willing to buy my house for 10 million taels of silver?" He obviously didn't believe that there would be anyone in this world who would be so stupid as to spend 10 million taels of silver to buy a house. Xiao Jing didn't say anything else. He pulled out a banknote from his sleeve and handed it to the middle-aged man. "Here's 10 million taels of silver. Everything in your house belongs to me. You can leave now." Chapter 336. The middle-aged man hurriedly snatched the banknote and examined its authenticity. After confirming that the banknote was real, he quickly stuffed it into his sleeves and hurriedly left without even packing his belongings. Xiao Jing glanced disdainfully at the middle-aged man's hurriedly leaving figure. He slowly retracted his gaze and looked at Ling Yao. This way, we have a place to stay. Next, we need to find the whereabouts of that trash. Ling Yao frowned. But we haven't seen that trash for more than a decade. Even if he appears in front of us, we might not be able to recognize him. Don't worry. Xiao Jing smiled mysteriously. I have something in my hand. As long as I have this thing, I will recognize him the moment he appears in front of me. Hearing this, Ling Yao sighed in relief. That's good. For Yu Qing and my happiness, I must find that trash as soon as possible and break off the engagement with him. Only the number one genius of the Xiao family, Yu Qing, is worthy of me. Xiao Yu Qing, the number one genius of the Xiao family. He was the dream of countless women in spirit realm. She was one of those people. If that trash knew his place, he would not pester her. Instead, he would agree to her breaking off the engagement. Don't worry. Xiao Jing patted Ling Yao's shoulder comfortingly. Even if he starts pestering you after seeing you, the Xiao family has a way to make him give up on you. The marriage between the Xiao and Ling families is inevitable. However, your marriage partner is not that trash. I hope so. Whenever she thought of that trash, a hint of disgust flashed across Ling Yao's eyes. If it wasn't for breaking off the engagement, she would never want to see that trash in her life. Let's go in and rest first. Xiao Jing narrowed his eyes. As for that trash, I will find him soon. Inside the general's residence. In the back garden, a young girl sat under a peach blossom tree with her eyes closed. Faint spirit energy surrounded her body and was absorbed into her body through the opening and closing of her pores. Suddenly, the young girl heard the sound of footsteps approaching. She opened her eyes slightly, and her black pupils turned towards the little servant girl who was walking into the rear courtyard. How is it? Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and asked. Miss, Qing Yin wrinkled her delicate brows. I've already given the order. All the Yins don't dare to accept those two people. However, that man from the Xiao clan took out a silver note and bought a courtyard. I understand. Yin Luofeng's black eyes shone with a profound light, making it impossible to tell what she was thinking. A long while later, the corners of her lips curled into an arc. Her slightly narrowed eyes contained a dangerous glint. It's also time for me to meet these two people from the Xiao clan. Qing Yin blinked her eyes. Miss, are you going to make a move on the Xiao family? On what grounds? Reason? Yin Luofeng laughed lightly. Don't forget, I'm the number one hedonistic son of Long Yuan country. Why would I need a reason to beat someone up? He just didn't like them. Qing Yin, gather everyone in the army. We're going to do something big. She, Yin Luofeng, had never needed to find a reason. She just didn't like these people, who would be able to do anything to her. Qing Yan's eyes shone. Her miss was simply too domineering. It looked like she still had a lot to learn from her miss, especially her shameless spirit